that the PVC that even people in Niger have, that even children that haven't been born, their names are on the PVC. Underage children have PVCs in the north. She is telling you that your PVC will save you. Your PVC will save you in a bigoted society like Nigeria. A society that everything has to do with tribe. The North will vote for the North. The West will vote for the West. The East will vote for the East. That is the country you are in. And they have already told you that the votes from the North, they don't need your vote. Because the ones from their side, because they know they are the ones responsible for votes in Nigeria, they have all the departments. Who made the PVC? Who printed the PVC? Who is in charge of all of it? Who is in charge of the government? It is the Fulani. They told you they have the number. They have the number. A desert land have more number than your land that is not desert. This is Nigeria, and these people are still pushing you into destruction. Until they kill the last of you, they will not be happy. This is what America is controlling. This is what America is doing in Nigeria. Now, she went forth to say, you guys are the future of Nigeria. Now, let me ask this Nigerian youth. When did you start hearing that you are the future? When? The same future that they killed at Lekki Toll Gate. The same future that Nigeria Army, whenever they see a youth, they just know, this youth is a target. They kill you. Take your organs. And the American government at that time did not know that you are the future. It is now election time. They are telling you, you are the future. That young population can change this country. The young population that they have been hunting. You are the ones that they consider gullible. That is why they can always come around to talk their nonsense. That is why they come around, because they know you're always asking for help. You don't want to solve your own problems yourself. You do not want to. What can you do? What is it that you can do to solve your problems? It is time for us to rise up. It is time for us to rise up. That is the only way we can solve our problems. Not rising up in the way of destroying banks. No. Not rising up in the way of destroying facilities that are supposed to serve us. No. Rising up to demand that your right to democratic processes be observed. That the government should respect your rights. Your right to a referendum, your right to choice to decide where you belong. Your right not to be treated as an animal. This is where I'll end this evening's broadcast. Thank you very much for being part of this program this evening. I remain your humble servant, Mazi Sochima Mbanali. This is Radio Biafra coming to you live from Radio Biafra London. Thank you very much and have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Thank you. Thank you. Please do not forget that our Ambazonia brothers invited us to their program. Thank you. Please do not forget Do not forget that our Ambazonia brothers invited us to their program.
Ọ na-abụ ọkọkọwa anụ ọhịa ya gakwuru kwa osisi, ọ kọwakwanụ mmadụ ya gakwuru mmadụ ibe ya, n'ihi na onye a na-achụ ehi na-akpọpụ ma o ji ọgwụ ya, o ji nri ya. Ebe nwata na-ebe akwa na-atụ aka ma isi nne ya nọrọ ya, ke nne ya ga-anọrịrị ya. Ọkụkọ sị na ihe na-esi aṅụ mmiri lewe anya n'elu na ọ bụ ebe ọnwụ na-egbu ya na-esi abịa. Biko nụ, anyị ji ohere a, anyị onwe anyị bụ ụmụafọ Biafra, Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB n'aha mkpimkpi, n'okpuru onye ndu anyị bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ, na-arịọ ndị eze, ndị ụka dị iche iche, ndị ọha obodo dị iche iche, ndị ụmụnne nna, ndị ụmụnne nne, nọsekwa nọsịrị ka ha biko nyere anyị aka dịka ugwu, ka anyị buru ebele. Nchọnchọ anyị mere gosiri na ozu ndị a niile bụ nke ndị anyị nọ na mọchụarị anyị na-elibeghị, so na-akele anyị ụkwụ, na-epile anyị aja na garị. Biko nụ, ka anyị mara na ihe anyị ga-eme lipụ ozu ndị a, hapụkwana ihe ndị ọzọ sochiri ya. Anyị lipụchi ozu ndị a nwanne, anyị abịa n'obi eme akwara ama ndị sochiri ya. Anyị na-arịọ unu, onye ọbụla nwụrụ ọnụ were mkpụrụ ụbọchị 3 lie ya, bịa hazi ihe niile. Ihe mezikwanara emezi, a na-akpọ ya nwa mma. Biko nụ, ihe ndị a na-ebutere anyị nsogbu rue na a ga-eji mọchụarị na-akpa anyị ọgba ebe niile. Ozu a dọrọ n'ihu, dọrọ n'azụ, dọrọ n'ụlọ, dọrọ n'uko, dọrọ n'usekwu, dọrọ na palọ, dọrọ na senta tebụl. Anyị na-ele ya anya. Chineke, igbe ozu mana m ụmụnna, ma enweghị ike iji amịrị igbe akwa. Ebe mkpokọrọ eso dị mma ma eji ihe eme ọla aka. Unu ma ihe m na-ekwu, maka na nwata bee nne ya bee nna ya amara na ihe ọ ga-ebe agwụla. Anyị arịọ unu ka unu nwee ike mee ihe ugbu a mgbe chi na-efobere, tutu mmiri asọwa ọgba. Anyị ma ihe eji na-ekwu ihe a, ụfọdụ mọchụarị nọ n'ala Biafra anyị ga-emechi ha, n'ihi na mọchụarị abụghị ebe ụmụntakịrị na-aga egwuregwu, ọ bụghị ebe ndị okenye na-aga ezuru ike, ọ bụghị ebe a na-atatụ ihe n'ọnụ ma ọ bụ kụọ ngaji n'eze, ọ bụghị ebe a na-aga nlele. Ihe eji agba na ntị eji ya agba n'anya. Anyị na-arịọ unu ka unu mee ihe kwesịrịnụ ka ala anyị dere ji, ka obodo anyị dere ji. Unu cheta na onye ọbụla rere ala lie mmadụ, o liele ozu labụ. Ihe abụọ apụle n'ahụ, ka anyị nyere unu onwe anyị aka. Ihe meziri emezi a na-akpọ ya nwa mma. Anyị anaghị aba mba, ma arịrịọ ka anyị na-arịọ unu, ma ọ bụrụ unu na-asịkwanụ na unu agaghị elebara ihe ndị ahụ anya n'otu ọ dị na mbụ ka ọ ga-adịgide, nwanne, anyị enweghị ihe ọzọ anyị ga-eme na-abụghị ime ihe kwesịrịnụ, n'ihi na anyị onwe anyị bụ ụmụafọ Biafra agaghị anọ ihe eri ọba anyị. Ozi a unu na-anụ ugbu a si n'aka ndị IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, na-abịara unu n'okpuru onye ndu anyị bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dị ya nsọ. Ọ bụ ha na-akụ mgbịrịmgba maka na osisi nwa ọnwụ otu ya afọ ọ nụrụ ka ala ibe. Ndewo.
Therefore, the only election that makes sense in our place right now in Biafra land is a referendum. When we achieve a referendum, then all these nice things that people like Obi is talking about, how he's going to revive the economy and how he's going to put people to work, those are beautiful things to say. But for you to be able to implement those things, you have to have a just society to be able to do that. You have to be able to have people that are ready to receive the opportunity and want to participate to make their life better. You don't have that right now. What is Peter Obi going to do with millions of Aramajiris? How is he going to control the military? How is he going to control all the terrorist groups from the north? The banditries, Mieti Allah, Fulani Herdsmen, that are the 4th most deadliest terrorist group in the world by Global Watch on terrorism. And Saru, Al-Shabaab. How is an Igbo president going to control these terrorist groups? How is that going to happen? So the first thing is to secure our life first, before anything else. And the only way to do that is through a referendum. You have to be alive to participate in an election. Right now, our struggle has gone beyond economies. It's gone beyond a way of life. We are fighting for self-preservation at this time. Self-preservation. We're fighting to stay alive. Every Biafran should be able to see that. If you do not see that, it's either you're nonchalant, you don't care, or you're desperately wicked. One or the other. There is no other explanation. Thank you.
Radio Biafra. We saturate the whole of Biafra land. Wherever you are, just touch the dial 102.1 FM. Olu, Owerri, Enugu, Anambra, Abakaliki, Nsukka, Asaba, and many more. Radio Biafra. We got you covered. Radio Biafra, the first and the last.
Now, why somebody did not na Finland na-enye order saying no government in exile, then why you declare your armed struggle? What's that not self-determination? Now, if you declare armed struggle, get any business in with a sit at home. You may sit at home with civil disobedience. Now, each is able to for civility. How have you ever seen civil servant make protest today? Army cannot protest without a gun because they are armed. Now, army are for civil disobedience. This is struggle I on him here. They declare armed struggle have no right to call for civil disobedience. And civil disobedience are not me enforce. Has I me enforce? If you enforce it, it is uncivil. Civility cannot be enforced. Civility is by decision. Now, if you enforce it, you are discrediting IPOB in all their sit at home because all voluntarily. Now, you want to show the world none of them me enforce. Discreditation. Now, government is an agenda. Now, ask yourself. Kedu tundi na ekwegi na court ruling, he ekwegi na court proceeding, he ekwegi na civil disobedience. Sorry, he ekwegi na political solution. Okay, my court political solution. Referendum political solution. Free Nnamdi Kanu conditionally political solution. Right? Now, how come you declare armed struggle, declare no checking point, declare government in exile? Can you declare armed struggle without presenting two army in you go to uniform? But the director say no Fulani na bush or present the ESN. How do somebody in Finland declare government in exile, declare armed struggle without presenting two army or one? That is to say, actually, government is there because he present the army. Government will ask you, on the director present the ESN, government is there because all they play the show. Now, the case of Free Nnamdi Kanu, ain't anything but violence because court is discharged here. The government, the word on the neck of Nigerian government. Why have you not free Nnamdi Kanu? Because I inhibit in a court, they send them boa, they court to Nigeria. Now, I'm not saying free here. How an reason now, Wagon and Dine Susan, a woman in southeast. Ima Unana, what I hear now. Government Abia project through Nigerian army, Omar Musa, a 2-division commander, a with 5 days I get Jebu Bata Fulani. Imona, what I hear Fulani will come in. Because when we are alert, I don't know name on Arahan Hibu Batam, Fulani Hamana in a video. Now I get alarm. Now 5 days Simon Epa non agenda, Ohanese non agenda, governor non agenda, can governor Ochora. Has he criminalized IPOB can have the holy again. Now how go IPOB Bugaha, all the contract and Simon. Make sure we become holy again. IPOB wasn't that hate, can has evil. Right? Or the agenda. That is why IPOB needs it at home. order. Ị ga-ahụ the governors ha na-enye akanta ya. Ị ga-ahụ commissioner of police ha na-enye order na state but ekwube okwu. All their plan. Inugo onye isi ndị amị warn n'oge ha warnụbeghị. All their plan. No warning. Ọ dụtụ na anyị tigbere mkpọ ha na-eze bie yesterday ma bata ha si ọha na-eze kwuo okwu. Ikwu okwu si Dave Maha ya mee instruct. Ya mee advice ka ọ kwụsị. Ọha na-eze nna akpọ Dave Maha. They are supposed to write to the Finnish government. Si ha na onwe onye n'ebe ahụ na-enye ala Igbo nsogbu. Why do they tell Dave Maha? Because all their own business. Now, how can somebody not declare government in exile? Ohaneze ekwu okwu. Governors akpọ meeting. But IPOB in order sit at home, ha akpọ meeting n'Enugu. Because ha ma know their plan. How do somebody declare armed struggle? Na ebidola igbe na ga-ebido igbe. Why no onwe governor okwuru okwu? Onwe politician kwuru okwu? Onwe foreign affairs, Nigerian foreign affairs ekwu okwu. Minister of Information ekwu okwu Lai Mohammed. Army chief ekwu okwu. Defense minister ekwu okwu. Mmadụ ji aha Biafra declare government in exile. Ndị ekwu okwu makwa ya Biafra. That is ige ota ngwanu ejide onye na-aga n'ụzọ na-asị ga IPOB. But onwe ndị na-enye ọda gbuo mmadụ gọọmenti akpọtụbeghị ha. Why akpọbeghị ha? But ejide onye na-aga n'ụzọ asị IPOB. Because IPOB ka aha ha nọ na cases ebogidere Kanu. Ndị a na-ekwu okwu aha ha reflect gị na case. So gọọmenti kpọọ ha ọ gaghị enwe meaning. Ndị nọ na charges director IPOB and ndị ọ na-elid IPOB. So ndị need tarnish IPOB and IPOB need to secure the name because I marry God. How can you endure massacre, national high school killing, 9th of February 2016, Igagogo? Mpo massacre, 29/30 May 2016, Igagogo. Iguacha massacre, IPOB in solidarity with Donald Trump, 20th January 2017, Igagogo. Emene massacre, and the first killing of IPOB happened in Onitsha, 30th of August 2015 by Willie Obiano. 2 people died, 29 injured. We didn't go to war. Right? Now, Emene massacre, 23rd of August 2020. We didn't go to war. Obiubo massacre from October 18 down 2020. Egagog. We launched ESN. Send the Hanohia. Government about Simon Yaguagina Onyohi ESN. Ndị mmadụ na-emebere ya n'Imo abịa na ego asignal our men no ụmụọma to turn our people against IPOB. Ka our people si na ihe awụrụ Biafra na ha achọzi ya. But ọ na-adị unu ugbu a mgbe ị gbara ọsọ ka ọ ga-edo gị anya ka ị ga-amacha onye ahụ ị na-eti anya ị ga-emecha chọwa ị ga-ahụ ya. Gọọmenti will save you, but lekwa onye nke chọrọ isave gị ebe o were onwe ya dewe. Now ask yourself, how do somebody that want Nnamdi Kanu to be out na ọ dị enye gị date but Biafra ga-abịa? Ọ director ga-enye gị date. Wait, you love Kanu. Isizi agawa anyị na-agazi na ana m abịa iweta Biafra ke Biafra nke Kanu na-abịa iweta. The man lost group family. He gave my Kayama Pata. Can you need a date? Now I can't do people. They only to draw hope. Can divert their people because the agenda of the government is Nanakano power. How do you take power? Anaria power. I may try release your game with the power. Divide the Andines. I can't way up will be in your way structure. Up will be structure and strength here. Oman in your than God. Now somebody abia say gegela anybody in DSS ki we ke gewe ya want somebody agwage na ye wan spokesperson Biafra why na nwete be Biafra why na mapo afọ publicity secretary IPOB ebe na Biafra enwe market leaders ha nwekwe their spokesperson enwe politicians ha nwe their spokesperson enwe religious leaders ha nwe their spokesperson. How come if you use spokesperson dey Biafra go and make we go appoint and we go Biafra government, EJ appointment in the name of Biafra. Then you are mocking the Biafra. Because in Agwandocha, na Biafra in with the bill, appointment. You are trying to ridiculous. Did you understand? Why name an Abana Biafra agitation? Then we must solve. And we BIM, and we BZDM, and we EPC, Eastern People's Congress, and we BNL, and we BNG. Then in an Biafra, Biafra be my country here, doctor. Right? How? I want to actually don't wrong. How we fit? How na don't wrong? Why did you make Kanu attach? I was a Masobian. Kanu was only Masob. Mbe creatory IPOB. You were trying to Masob there. Why somebody did cho itanisha hanya? Asking how was autopilot? Do you know the meaning of autopilot? Plane without pilot. That is to say, automatically you become a fool. You don't have leadership, you don't have channel. In your churumba, can you join here? At when how director always in done it. Did you understand? So that is the issue. How do you come in the month of December? Director and all days, Ozielo Zokombozi, Ozela Barrister Nameke Jofozi, Zo Barrister Jofozi, Bagin and Diname and a government is Rohazo. My young Amerigo case here. O Amerigo na UN, Ojuku Logo 3 years, UN 80 gone. But such an IPOB hold international law for 1 year upon intimidation not here. UN 80 on. But Ojuku Chok 80 on 80 gone. But the director maintain area, had to run. I got a court to Nigeria no more. State High Court on my 19th of January 2022. Court a rule that now Nnamdi Kanu Abagoso no jump bell. No mere assassination attempt. No mere escape as military assassination attempt or human escape. And the government got compensate. In nature the ruling. Nigeria may go be. I got a court. I decide I can't see no one na court obula and no way court to get direct again. No way see get then Nigeria disobey. I got federal high court on my court decide I say return not back to Kenya. Now only gonna get that na ya mere enforce sit at home Monday for 1 year. Out of this result now, one the reflection. We both reflect na friend Nnamdi Kanu. Now, he may be an account ndiki iburebu Monday for 1 year. If free begin ndiki egari men force it at home no nanga, hundreds of them. Ntroka IPOB free hanya asagembe. Imonyo anyere God agakuya. Let them send you a lawyer. Okay no nanga, but IPOB no nanga we send lawyer. Then onye angwara ga men madam force ino nanga or just say o send kwanu picture gi na net ka ahugodu na ejige eji. Ojukwa na esegi. Ojogi ya bikwa say gi ime ozo email account nke email ruru 1 year. Because the whole result free Nnamdi Kanu from court, from the same IPOB leadership, according to the direction from Nnamdi Kanu. Only a criminal gang on a detention. Criminal gang here actually has adopted without him make omara. Only na freedom. He get make omara. You go with the freedom also. You can't take Kanu na ga choto shaputa no nwe power. He choto shaputa. Ogaroshi. So he defeat to do anyhow with his name. Now you want to on a guy says you want to ridicule it. But Sam, before him he got what direct. You only have instruction. You was saying one need leadership of IPOB with a rule direct on a table and he send direct. All like you wait 2 weeks before you reply them. Because all you had in charge. More reply, but they can't give order. So all me somebody not that is to say they want to take power from him, right? Yeah, with the foundation now. Self-determination can you go do already. It's already self-defense.
And self-defense. Self-defense.
The director Sege, ESN will do this for us. Now, how do we do it? Before we do it, we need to create the scenario of Yemen, the scenario of Somalia, the scenario of Syria, in the northern part of the damnable Republic of the Zoo, not in Biafra land, sorry. Ebage create that noise. Also, no, northern part. Not here. Did you understand? Now, Yagwazeg again. They want to force us into premature war, but we are more intelligent than them. What we have to do is, we have to be patient and follow instruction. That's how they forced our fathers into war after Aburi Accord agreement. Okay, when I forced Ojuku into war. Now, self-defense has been a natural law. No matter where you defend yourself, but you cannot instigate a trouble against your whole family. You want that dodge, yeah? If you want to defend yourself, you gotta defend your own. Each is Zosh, Igazo, Ejra family against Zosh. Did you understand? Now, self-defense. Of why he launched the ESN? According to international law, it's an ESN township. ESN roll here, Naya Dagiu. Do you know why? I get you make ESN no help. director send ha no he but ha gwara Simon ebe ya gwa ha na ESN no na edu no na communities when na coordinator enwe channel to ESN. Don't worry, I can equal self defense. I'm separate self determination or decide that he got warrior referendum. Or your self determination. Self defense, oh, Mado Biani Boogie, get defend your own way. Now, Nigerian army now sponsor Fulani to kill us. I have launched ESN to defend our boundaries. Here, the ESN will restoring Biafra 2020. I know since we defense, but we are defending it international. Because since they care about any security in Kanu, no one involved in our politics, only ESN. And they be send the house na boundaries. Boundary what that all here, right? When I want to hear director, Ebehan or boundary. Now this township can Nigeria actually move at Ogwanya to Hagawa no here. And Hajupanega no here because Hamana or gauge IPOB, or less Maloreba before Jidan. That's why the director let's send the army. So self-defense and self-determination are the issue. And the self-defense I may apply. Now, is it when you come to your community, army available your community, or when you get the army? Which means army sent you. Because he cannot stand the army. And there's also in our man. That is confusion. How can in a burial somebody be an agego? Yes, again, now I make you quit. Why not ESN on that time? Who the mother will have big Simon help our ESN or YPOB or whoop the IPOB. Director say, gay and singing game my gunti, my ego Yoruba. Listen to Omote Biafra. Listen to Ikenga Uruago. Listen to Ikem Patrick. How do about 20 directors again? I say again, or say take instruction from them. Now, director suspend them at radio Biafra. Memo, I will director get memo. When get memo HODOS, and when you sign now HOD upon not director on your order. Now let us go to O to 5 POB. Again at the beginning of oath, that I, Mazi solemnly and voluntarily swear to be absolutely loyal to the leadership of the indigenous people of Biafra. Nnamdi Kanu there first. Mboya there, but Oyotie before you was with DOS. Now the oath you take you go to O radio. Abiatie come Abia say and Nnamdi Kanu director of radio Biafra. Now the actual madu onega sign here DOS. You like the key. Tuto again, one general commander. The top man he gauge there at any time. Then the government will be there. Or here Brusare, or here Abiola. Can we structure? When they catch you, your friends will run away because of politics. When you run away, they will kill you. But this one is not friends. This is a structure. Now government want to destroy it completely. Then in anything, a project. Directors are now infiltrator and moles. Government project her for years. After having cause of failure, 4 more tripod, 4 more iPod, 4 more radio international. Yeah, failure. Cuba now. How with Tezego making sure that people buy an IPOB no go do already. How many years I plan to kidnap that? Uzbek kidnap their hand strike here with allegation. Can do the allegation? He hated the leadership. Then director knows alone. He hated higher happy and alone. And when he got off time, who join Nigeria with the structure, not individual. The structure, no one who you get him, no one they get him. And the case in Nigeria now, on a wine the Grambo, how is here Nigeria? Nigeria report line is here and he mail country by country. When we get a menace. So, Elaine was it your age?
Another thing to age based on the
can I address our people man no life? Thank you. I remain the fearless IPOB evangelist Mazi. I am broadcasting from Biafra land, right here from our homeland radio Biafra. Here in Biafra land, I guess today is the 8th day of December 2022. Thank you. I am here with our people somewhere in Biafra land, unmentioned. As we continue to enlighten our people, to inform them of the things in our hand on how to restore Biafra that will be honorable before the eyes of God, not in a criminal manner. Thank you for joining us as we are interacting with our people here. Right? We don't get their faces. Thank you. Go ahead.
Maybe go from the viewer and from the questions Now gather from people to know.
Okay.
In the no local.
Okay.
I see now Mazi, Simon, no me hijack the fund erase by Omadike. So when I juicy go to Mazi Simon, she hijacked the fund of IPOB from our finance head.
Yeah, wait a minute. So where basara fund.
To counter the young man, but I see there is no how. Mazi Simon, Akaji dinner fund.
Lanya.
Thank you.
Lanya magwagi. Fund IPOB dị iche.
Okay.
Ndị a na-ereze fund na IPOB. Ote ma na. Nna ugbo anyị agaghị were aha gị ma aha business gị reze ego. Olee otu ị ga-adị? Ajọ ndị mmadụ asị na a na-enye gị ya. Nwaanyị na-esi mmadụ before gị reze fund meet onye a na onye a ga-assign ya. So that I got be accountable to. Some people need anyhow Biafra. We never need anyhow Biafra. Anyhow Biafra is like Nigeria. Are you aware? Biafra has Rofuma direct on it with one high chop. And I met Tibo. Government cannot send you to turn our people against us. Before IPOB and your order sit at home, Hana consult national coordinator. Are you aware? How matter condition of our people? Okay, it's an look at any order. Anjo tacha anyị reply ya leadership ha sị mba na ha ga-ahapụ ya na ha ga-use another method ọkwa ya ọtara because na nke a ga-emegide ndị anyị na jụọ onwe gị ka ị marazie onye ya na director na-arụkọ ọrụ Nnamdi Kanu lelechara annual event ma ihe annual event otu a 25 December anọ eruo 25 change to 26 ịhụrụ ga ebe o mere but Nnamdi Kanu mere last year because not studied Biafra 20 years. In my home, that 30 May my Sunday. That on Friday, signs or high gary, Nabali Saturday, now has Saturday, no Kusigo, no more going out. Yamecha, large back in Nabali Saturday, Biame broker, Semba. Okay, large in a Friday, yes. Saturday morning, call larges. Messiah broker, Sina. Nayage, Messiah Sunday, Nage shift here Monday. Reason that our people are too religious. So that people should go to church. How do our fallen heroes say, but one Diane was at home. Why in the Agenese sit at home Sunday? Bagging off friend Nnamdi Kanu. But Hajebe. Onye Jeboga call for sit at home. You will go to Abuja DSS rescue our leader, not putting our people on fire. IPOB choose court, they go to Abuja court. You want to choose Rebe, go to DSS. That is how it is done. You don't threaten our people. This is Igbo people actually as a slave. How to go on a million war. The same people actually frustrated. People we without referendum has to go to hell with your referendum. There is something you do to an Igbo man, they will reject you. Imagine that now. And I be frustrate our people. And a job behind about time.
For long, I lack information. I do Biafra. For long, then it's not working.
On our road, that's land is not working. Hey guys, now. I'm live. Don't worry, our people, man. Don't worry. Now,
that's all I need.
Here could radio Biafra. Oh, he get cool that comes. I give you love FM. Give me a check with Magic FM. You can each check with you another one. Let us address Radio Biafra. They on 247. Come on now. I know log we believe. Even at the radio, what was strength? Osbej the director. Ajam radio Abia. Gaba right. Abia mezie on na covers everywhere on ekucha on ekunaba but on na cover everywhere Radio Biafra the kwano on e dan o na iji udi for e dan do IPOB community radio audio on ugba e ga na ege ugba program dey on onwegi mba e ga ezu oke o ya mara ja don nworo onwe nobody should expect completeness o wa na alu ebe Nigeria onwe ha ezu oke. Okay, but owogu onwe he ban nwere oil nyawo anyanwa the resources, right? Anyị na-elikwa ozu ndị a na-egbu, anyị na-sponsor kwa ndị nọ n'ọhịa, anyị na-sponsor kwa legal proceedings, anyị na-sponsor kwa everything. Onwekwa ebe ego dị ọ na-akpa anyị. So all talk o si dị. Ihe ị ga-eme wụdat na ị gaa na newspaper, ị ga-ahụ na IPOB si no sit at home. N'ụzọ ebuge. And Nigeria dị go weak. Ị ma ihe anyị ji eme ya? O nwezi ihe ọ bụla ị mere ga-ebugide ya Kanu. Anyị na-eme na anyị na-ebere gị akwa. Ihe anyị jikwa na-agwa gị ihe awụ so that echi ga-blame director na onwe ihe ọ gwara gị. Ọ ya mere o ji ma allow ya zicha ụmụnne ya. Ya bịazie ndị IPOB leadership ikwetebeghị lawyer ikweteghị ya cherecha ha akparịcha nwunye ya sị nwunye ngwa ga-agwazie ha okwu ịnọ hie na-eti mkpu ịma na nwunye director gara ahụ ya na DSS jụgodo onwe gị kedu ihe ụta IPOB leadership si mee ya ya ga-ahụ ya ejideghị ya ihe mba a na-agba jụọ onwe gị kedu otu esi secure ya 2 times sit our leader a week ọ dị easy Ambazoni ama ebe their leader nọ because ha nọ armed struggle director nọ armed struggle ga ama ebe ọ nọ achọ ofu barak dewe ghọtara ihe na-eme dị ya now 2 times the seat a week gburu Nigeria ịta ya ahụ taa echi nwanne echi lọya bịa ya ọgwụ ya hụrụ onye a kpọpụ ya court ọ dọrọ m aka n'akwa ọgwụ anyị hụrụ esi eme ya now Nigeria regret is there because ọ ka hapụ ịhụ ya ka ha ji deny ya ise ndị ya kuje ugbu a na anyị na-ahụzi na mechazi gwazie Simon to take the mind away from our leader that they should not listen to anybody in DSS that they should do everything to free him. That is stupidity. Only a criminal can get me like that. Not an international man. The lawyer. You must meet him. The lawyer na one hocha director, but not director with their strength. Onye guy there eba uru. Ne wo san meet your gwa ihe ga-eme na case ga aba uru. Ihe na acho emetubegi brain. Odogwu ka esi m hapụ na m egele ya ntị na ege nne gị ka nna gị ntị. Odogwu was missing for 1 year and emere ụlọ ya attack na Ụmụahịa ejekwara ebe ọ nọ the same leadership ha edere ya n'Israel nke ugbu a ya nọ 8 days ha jụọ gị ka ihe leadership na-eme ha ma ebe awa leader nọ 8 days ejekwa anyị ka ebe ọ nọ 1 year. Stupidity of a black man. 1 year I nọ na-eme campaign ha bụ ya nyozu director 1 year esekwa na sabotage 8 days ka esi anyị gwa gị ihe mere director ugbu a ha na-aga court ka ihe director ji aga court ma ọ na anyị leak gị secret ihe mere. You know some people na go over speed and they go over speed dey Ishmael ọ ihe mere Abraham ihe ịkpa alakpu ha ga and ha ga amụ Ishmael and all confusion because ị na-agba ụzọ ị na-amaghị ụzọ ị na-amụ ụzọ ị na-agba ụzọ ị na-amaghị ị ga ụzọ ị na-agbabe before ị ga amebe pothole ụnụ you need to over speed ị ga amebe sharp bending nọ oh here none of the matter. This is Ogwai story. They brought it to our fathers. Hand no defense. Hand chopping in defense again. Defense again our daughter kubwa. Ibale gbelu amabia. Amebia haga alaza. They will molest you. Again we ga abia zekwe ba defend our people. E lagbo na ebe akwa. Kende ga akpọ DOS. But ọ gbalire egbe. DOS ogwa gbalire egbe. The same people who send agent ka agbali egbe na community ga agbali ha agba ọsọ amebia ha sị gị DOS should send our men around na agbagi mgbe ị gara ịgbali egbe elu ị gwara ha na ị na-agbali egbe you that shoot gun ga no defend there no because you are an agent. So onye nwere question ya jụọ ihe IPOB na do Biafra anyị nwere IPOB registered in different part of the world. Now some people get confused onwe ha sị na everybody born in the eastern region of Biafra is IPOB by birth. Yes. But in my right, he discussed IPOB structure. He get discussed Biafra. Do you know why? Dave Umahi IPOB by birth. Also them IPOB by birth. But he is not led by Nnamdi Kanu. Even IPOB Nnamdi Kanu they took oath. But the whole Biafran sana carry her along. The director say carry her along. Ubochi o rutere gị na ị ga-arụ ọrụ gị rụọ. How? Enwere ike nye order sit at home isoro go. Ọwụ must na ị ga IPOB family member. Ịghọta ihe nọ there. Now otu a ka ọ dị na religion ma Christianity. Ị nwere ike discuss ihe gbasara anyị na-discuss Christ, you will join. It doesn't matter your church. Anyị na-discuss Bible, you will join. Anyị na-discuss heaven, you will join. Maka ihe jikọrọ anya ọnụ. And they discuss Christianity, you join. But the Catholic discuss watch a plate. You get in assembly be a condemn boy. Oh, your business, but can you condemn obey? You got to be a Catholic in her weapon, Mary. ọ mgbe ha gwara gị na Baịbụl a na o nwere ọzọ arọ ga-egwu ha wetagodi eke ịhụ bikos ọ ihe unu kwekọrịtara chọọchị doctrine ọwa ihe unu kwekọrịtara different by different otu a ka ọ dịkwa na IPOB ị na-adọ nwere onwe enwe masọp enwe ndị ọzọ ọ bụrụ na Simon ha chọrọ ịdọ nwere onwe na ikwe na director iyuzu aha gị don't bring Kanu closer because ihe ọ bụla ị mere ị ga-aga ede ya nye account of it you can use my name na-eme ihe m na-aga emenwe akaụntụ ị na-akaụntụ ya mme onye ha na-etikwe mgbe na onwe onye o diri gị na-emekwe na aha ya then you are evil. The only thing na confuse unu na-akpọ Biafra itiwe mkpu you can reason na mmadụ tiri Biafra gwa gị freedom under government plan does not mean na onye ahụ ịdị intelligent ị mara ihe onye ahụ na-ewetara gị na mmadụ na-ewetara gị destruction ị na-eti mkpu ya dị ka ị ga-ahụ onye ahụ echi ka ọ bịa defend ya gị. Kedu village ya ka ebe ụlọ ha nọ amị ọgago paakị ọnụ ụlọ ha bifo leta amị na paakị n'ụlọ Benjamin Madubugu amị ma ụlọ ka anụ ha kedu adreesị onye ị na-eche ị na-ege ntị kedu village ya kedu direct be nna ya mụghachi from ndị agbọ I'm from ndị agbọ Anị local government Oji River province Biafra land the whole world maara m ebe m si kedu ebe isi ka m wepụtara gị tweet Shehu Sani sị gị Ekpa from Black India. Ekpa reply ya Shehu from Southern Sudan. Why not reply onye bow? Shehu Sani from Kaduna. Ada amakwa ama. This was projected. This is a man saying Nnamdi Kanu no ga apology. Maka ihe mere ike kwere mmadụ. Ada amakwa ama. Simon Ekpa na video. Oh ya gwara mgbe after ịhụbe video gị na-asị na okay Nnamdi Kanu na aga ya apology to ekwere mmadụ ihe mere na Germany. Ọkwa ya nwa tweetiri sị na ndị a na-eme adọ Biafra anaghị disturb business ndị mmadụ ihe afa back tweet ya na how miscreant na vote esi eme Biafra. After emechara ekwere mmadụ ihe a ha niile ọ nọ there o so ha bịa. He was there with Ekwuremadu ha. Ọha ndị isi ọhaneze na Finland. Simon was there. E mere interview ka ihe ọhụrụ. Ya sịrị ihe mere ya adịghị mma. Na Kanu ga-ayị apology. Ebe nke a nọ mee the meeting. Ekwuremadu ha nọ. A planụzie ka a store ya. Ha bịa project ihe onye nọ na platform ya. Emere Atiku campaign 2019. Ha sizi oke ka channel Auto Biafra. Ha wetaweze exposition from Nigerian politics. Abịa ha eweta ihe onye Hausa ma onye Fulani mere nye ya gụọ na exposition to attract you. Ozugbo e mere attract ha plot ndị ga-emit director recommend onye atọ ya nwa. Ha nwekwa ndị meet director recommend ya ka onye anọ na platform ya ka ọ bịa dị mee interview. Ịhụ ihe anyị na-ahụla na struggle then ịma na ihe ahụ na-aka ahụhụ struggle. Unu just hang ya n'elu mmadụ gbali egbe elu ịmali hey our men ịmaghị the danger. So ọ dị gị ka director command anyị mebiwe ha ya ga-emebi. Kedu the repercussion? The world will condemn you because of ihe ọ sign. Ebe ọ sign ihe nọ open. Ị ga sign self determination bịa bulie am. Mgbe ị ga-ebuli am mgbe ị mechara self determination ha jụ also when we reach to the last point and there is no other route to follow then we strike. By then we have followed the due procedures. What they did to our father is what they want to do to us. Global conspiracy. Russia block Goye. Here we don't go meeting us of our oil. The only channel when now oil line, you can hand in Nigeria naba, and I say my terrorists. I bought somewhere under 5 days, including Sunday. By forcing. I have to release Kanu. I say I terrorists, educate terrorists now share the oil. America bring Nigeria to Kanu a fighter to fight terrorists. Use bear. Why? IPOB draw to US government. Sihana na terrorists are no ever. No anyone can actually ebu and Yoruba. US are nezo that say use Kwalena East, use Lana South. Since I use Ghana North. They now want to create a scenario that the whole world man na with terrorists, name insurgents in Alibo. So that I wasn't okay or I use it here. That unamage onana akwaka onwoge. As if na ka inwe obi ana agba egbe. Ndị ami atuda anyị egbe n'ugwu ọcha ya nọ na-ele ha sị ha shoot. Ịka inwe obi. Ịka inwe obi agbanyo okike na National High School anyị ka nọkwa na-akụ aka. Enye anyị ọda na mmadụ niile agba ọsọ, gọvanọ niile agba ọsọ. They knew.
Yes.
Ugbu a na mmadụ niile agba ọsọ ịnụ ha na oke ọ gwara IPOB nyere sitachi mana trouble ga-adị. Ndị ụka ga-ekwu okwu. On them ndị nyere order Monday, Tuesday sit at home, right? Ha na-enye different illegal and onwebe nke rụrụ ọrụ duto na ihe ederede ime nke a ikwo nke a agafe ikwo nke a agafe ikwo ị ga-ekwukwe result ịdịkwa after ma hapụnụrụ because ede ihe ederede wote eshe eme ya ikwo nke a agafe ikwo nke a agafe ikwo nke a agafe October ka a gwa gị na flag ga nọ the whole Biafra land. Ihe a niile ị na-eme gị obiọma anyị adịghị ime mmadụ obiọma dịtọs anyị akọla mmadụ ihe na-aga eme ka anyị gwa ya otu ọ dị iwe ọ na-ewe gị owe gị anọkọta bịa mee gị obi ụtọ na Biafra na-abịa mgbe mmadụ nye gị deeti Biafra ọ mgbe ị ga-agawara onwe gị mgbe mmadụ nye gị deeti mgbe Biafra na-abịa na-agụrụ gị ya gwazie gị na ọ chọ ka director pụta ọ ka ọ pụta bịa restọ ya gịnịkwanụ ebe gị nwa na-enwela Biafra nwee deeti mgbe ọ ga-abịa ga-ezikwana ihe director na-abịa ifriz kwuo udo dị ajụ ka ị ga-ajụ ọmụ ajụ broadcast
okwu Simon Ekpafu.
Yes.
Mgbe a ejide Mazi na Kenya.
Yes.
Ọ na-aba mba sị kedu ihe mere na DOS ejide Kanu for 8 days. Onwere ka ha si wee chọpụta na-eji ya onye isi fara mata. Na-ekwu na DOS ri bribe. Anadụgbe m ya na ọnụ Tinasa Nworu
na gịnị mekwere
na ọ na-edefend onwe na Nigeria na-asị na highly bribe.
Olee point gị or 8 days because
8 days
but ị nọ n'ebe a si sọkwa ya na-ele anya n'elu na-ekwucha ya gị laghachi ebe ahụ ka m laghachikwe ịma na o nwere mmụọ na-anọ m n'ihu ọ na-anọ m n'ime ọ na-abanye mmasị akweshọn ụfọdụ nọ mmadụ n'obi kọsa nọ na ị ga-asị asachala m ọtụtụ kweshọn enwe mmụọ na-edu aya m eburu kasta betụ m nọ here gwa gị na director na-emere ụlọ ya ataki na ụmụahịa ya nọ na September 14 mgbe o mere apịa n'Israel October 14 2018 betụ nke a 27 1 year gịnị mere jụkwara anyị ebe ọ nọ 1 year onye ri bribe 1 year kedu onye ri bribe 1 year buga director Israel ọha anyị na-ajụ ejụkwara ya ndị ahụ so director ịma nọ supreme leader ma na-emere statement banye ha ga-eme Facebook ga-eme ihe attack don't you know na na-emere director statement ụbọchị Osokome nwa ya na-agba nkwụ nwa ya na-alụ onye Ọnịcha director jiri eji ọfọ ka ọ ga represent director na occasion onye akpọrọ Nnamdi Kanu but represented by Ejiofọ ịghọtara ịgbawa egbe ghọọ terrorist barrister ga-evisit director terrorist a na-enwe lawyer ihe a otu ihe nyere Simon ha n'aka ịgbawa egbe onwe ihe ị ga-emewe Nigerian gọọmenti agwazie gị na Nigerian intelligence na Abuja na ha chọpụtago na ESN chọrọ ịbịa mee attack at DSS facility and na ha chọrọ ike ịpụ Kanu in a safe place by then na-ebuje ya jaji barak ụtụtụ enye mamịrị. Terrorist does not have lawyer. Terrorist does not have lawyer, but to have lawyers. Did you understand? So 8 days ahụ jụzie onwe gị onye ahụ na-agwa gị ma onye ahụ na-eme mmadụ niile ma nwunye director onye oshi o rere director ndị be director rere ya IPOB leadership rere director lawyers rere director ya nwa wụzie holy man. No, I want to know now. Director ọkwa ndị ahụ ka ọ na-eyuzu na-esecure vetri gị nwa awụzi holy man nwebe ihe i nyere ya ọkwa the same lawyers na-esecure ya vetri iji Nigeria n'olu ịma na ọkọ tụrụ rulings Nigeria ọ ya mere ha ji nye Simon Ekpa agenda of election. That is their only escape route to make sure na asị na IPOB tiri aka na disruption of election which is against civil rights and against international law. Mmere na IPOB ji gwa ha na ya etinye bụ ọnụ n'ihe election ihe a chọrọ referendum ha ya na-eti mkpa election since emechaa gwa ya ga ebe a na-eme campaign na ya dị ndị ga-eyi okpu Biafra ga mee attack asịkwa IPOB anya sịgị na ọwụwa anyị nwe Reno Mokiri ọchị ime Peter Obi attack ya kwuo IPOB sitatum ya okwu IPOB ya okwuta IPOB ya okwuta o mekiri chọ ha chọrọ ka IPOB join ya Peter Obi we fail ha chọrọ ka anyị kanta election isi ha na election ha egbuwe politician ha gbuo asa IPOB or in one idea. But Simon etinye election owutebe dịtụ gịnị ha mana ha nyere ya 70% of followers already from Lorita Onochie contracted student union ego phone nye ha onye Fulani na-aza aha Igbo na Facebook the whole Facebook Lorita Onochie mepere ya log in na phone nyecha ahịa a na-akwụ ha 14,000 ndị 15 ndị 30 ihe ama wee bịa Simon na-ekwu okwu ọ dị wee Simon ọ dị jụọ ya ihe ọ maghị ya just na ọhịa gwara ya dị ọgwụla or you telling us we don't know gwa m nke ị ga-agwa anyị na-amaghị o nweghị meaning na IPOB ekwu gị a na ọ dịghị if somebody chọrọ ịfọsụ gị into criminality how ị ga-eji eme ihe na-enweghị meaning you want to kill yourself by yourself ehu director lelechara hụ na Monday ga-ejide ya n'olu any court iwegara ikpegbuo ya ịma ihe o mere or suspend the IPOB leadership or cancel gị the sit at home Monday ịma ihe o mere ya move ya suspend ya Monday move to the date of court experienced man. Do you know what it means? It is easy to explain to anybody that now my people are in solidarity with me because I goes to court. Now, okay, your statement on Monday. Now ask yourself, why did Nnamdi Kanu suspended it? Government Agwaze Simon Hajirim Bank commit to a crime. Now I commit to a crime. The media saw IPOB. IPOB has seen a one hand. Then Simon Aga becomes no one. Your dodge kwa rukwe next Monday hate you. Echem ko ime ihe egwu nwe otuto enye mmadụ otuto ye gasị mba na ọmụnwa nwe ya na we not say IPOB otuto ha reject ya dị otuto for 1 year you take ibe otuto inyebekwa na account ka emere eme but IPOB DESN ka eme enforce open grazing ma ọlọkpa Fulani to mgbe ha gwa gị na ọha nwa mere ya no ESN mere ya ga-eme gịnị ụbọchị ESN go ESN na Nsụka egosi video na ESN go ESN. It is not a criminal manner ka ị na-eme. A na-eme criminality. Do you know that people che know ESN one non-government? But I won't know ya. So these are things people lara n'iyi. 70% now ESN. But why we cheered the non-government earlier is because I hụtara as the answer to our prayer. Because I ebela kwa governor azaghị, senator azaghị, onwe ya azaghị. Anọkọta ahụ ndị mewere attack gọọmenti. Director sị na ọ dịkwa mma. Ebe ọ nọ ndị a ka a na-eme attack. No problem. Na ọ ga-akwụkwa Chineke edinyere ha. Did you understand? Now, after ha rụchara ya, ndị nke ugbu a na ebe anaghị ego burial. Ọ ka akwụkwọ non-government. And ha anaghị ha sị na ha ESN. Imagine a criminal that cannot be proud to commit crime with his as a name of criminal. Only criminal on a JD card. How come you come to collect ransom? No, you ESN. Then you were plotted by the governors. All these criminals, Simon Amaha initially. The names, the contact in the Naka governor. Only with a criminal and the political talks there and hand that over to Yawa. Call them and give them order to commit crime. Simple. Many don't know them. But ESN have a reform. ESN will shorty. ESN I am one of ESN personnel a bush. So what we are doing is so that Biafra, had we allowed them to destroy ESN, villages carry protest. I saw ESN, I saw ESN, and those both BBC Iburia, you are gone. But I make it sure. Now I don't do make crime. You go down where you low to Madushi no na Ali only Igbo. You should declare armed struggle. No na Israel. Govern Eku. But IPOB Eku governing because they gave the instruction. You know to Madushi declare my government in Israel. Usbi declare I'm a bidobuani. Usbi declare I'm a bidobuani. But he declared he go see army. That is fake. And they can mention 2, 3, or 4 cabinets, which your people will appoint for you. Your people will appoint for you because you will discuss with your people in any other hand. Or enforcement. Civility cannot be enforced. And you can't enforce it at home. Or you are civil. If you enforce it, it's not civil. And you make campaign here already. So maybe I was a civil. Now let me sit at home I made voluntarily. Kaina no akan nde buria. The whole violence condemn that peaceful one I made na yard. Do you know why? Onwe bu onye put anye press release na town Monday na anyi were in charge. but IPOB may ịmapụ afọ enye press release onye press release UN ewere the press release file ya. Are you aware? Now mana ihe niile egburu Monday mana ebogidere IPOB mana anyị defendere na UN iche na ebe a ka ọ na-ebi enye ya na newspaper mgbe ị na-anya na paper enye gị ya UN ozi abịagoro IPOB ịmapụ afọ abịanye press release to counter it. Ịma people amụ ọgwụ a na-alụ onwe mgbe ha jidechara anyị full ịma ihe IPOB meziri anyị yuzie normal law le ihe anyị gwara ha n'ihu nwa m ahụ na-abịa anya oche n'azụ ụlọ gị jide ya maka ajọla m ha sị na ọwụ ha IPOB kwuru onye a na-eme first sit at home anyị sị na ọwụ anyị nwa ịhụ ya jide ya Nigerian police may arrest now ndị ahụ na-emezi ya Simon ha ete hey when did the DOS started working with DSS they told police to arrest our men n'ala Igbo na ahụ na onye oshi and ahụ na criminal how come obodo ka na-ebe akwa iko nsọ but obodo na-aṅụ ọṅụ na bebe nwụrụ na-aṅụ ọṅụ baby bush na-aṅụ ọṅụ na double lion nwụrụ onye oshi nwụọ aṅụ ọṅụ ezigbo mmadụ nwụọ ịnọ n'uju iko nsọ erichabe uju but ndị oshi niile awụ obodo na-eweta information na onye oshi but iko nsọ wụ politician wetara information obodo ekwe weta information because onye na-eche ha but in a disturb obodo all the ordinary person get with information ebe a ga-ejide. Do you see why those criminals is na njide? We don't ESN na agbali egbe jide ha ejide ha mgba ka iji beat Nigeria anyị abịa sị ha na ihu ha jide ya ha mekwa isi na IPOB na IPOB ha si oke na anyị ga-akpa aha ndị ahụ na-eme ihe ahụ ma ọ na ha akwụsịghị ya Simon ekpa ha sị ya mewe ha mewe anyị asịsị oke ka anyị kpa aha ha anyị akpọzi aha ha sị they are calling the names of our men on radio for the army to catch them. Did you understand? Mgbe ọbụla ịkpọrọ meeting n'obodo ka fight ya criminal ndị na-aghasa ya wụ ndị ahụ na-akọmit mgbe ọbụla plan for echekwa ebe a onye ọbụla aghasara ya ọha wụ ndị na-akọmit crime. So ihe a na-emewu ka anyị na-edo ndị mmadụ anya because director adịghị after ma ị lọsụrụ but ihe ọ ga-eje ejidego ihe ndị anyị gwara gị. So ọhịa m na-agwa unu m jọsụ gbabata ebe a eji too mmasị ka m dotu anya so unu jichi ike onye gwara gị na enwe sit at home gwakwa ya na ọ onye iro gị o. 1 mmadụ emetụbe director enyi dị mmegbu ọ nụkwa dị na-eti ya enwekwa rekọdụ Nnaemeka ziri o sendịrị mapụ afọ mmecha ugbu a mee play kwari unu nke sendịrị mapụ afọ from barista Nnaemeka Ejiofọ ka m play yari unu ma emecha. Thank you ụmụ Chineke. I will be bringing it to an end from here. Kachukwu abịa ma gozi unu ebe ọbụla unu nọ. Ihe kacha wụ favor ọkwa favor ka o nyere Joseph to the extent that na Potiphar chọpụtara na Joseph nwee favor ọkwa ya ka the same Joseph ji gaa na nke Fero ahụkwa favor onye ka anyị na-ayọ n'isi unu ka favor ya dakwasị unu nwa bekee hụ unu ka o lefekwere n'anya na ebubo Naijiria bụrụ anyị na-eme ha hụ unu ha na-enyo unu ka Chineke nye unu ihu ọma ebe ọbụla unu nọ. Ndị ka nọkwa n'ala Biafra onwe ndị iro n'ebe a bịara igbu anyị ịmakwa otu isi na-emehie ya ihu ha na ngwa ọgụ ha nọ hie since ha mere years ha egbuchabeghị anyị eze udo mewekwenụ ya nara ekele n'ihi na iji Nnamdi Kanu zodo ha okwu n'isi nara ekele otu isi mee ha disobey court order imere eze udo n'ihi na anyị ma na ọ last miracle director sị na ha ga-eme ihe niile kwụsị anyị ọkwa na ya ka ha na-eme ọ sị na ha ga-agba mbọ niile na ọ gaghị awọk nara ekele nara otuto ihe anyị na-eji akpọ gị bụ n'ọ gị ka o prezentịrị ọ sị na ọ gị nwa ọhụkwa na onye ọzọ na-egosiri anyị ọ gị nwa Chukwu abịa ma mgbe ọbụla anyị abịakwute gị anyị jisi gị ike ụta Elijah jijisie gị ike mgbe ha chọrọ ịkpọ chi ga-eji ọkụ eri aja. Elijah nwere ihe ọ gwara gị ọ sị na ọ bụ na ime ala Baal were ọkụ rie aja n'ugwu ga alago bikos na ịma na Baal na-ejikwa ọkụ eri aja ọkwa ya nwa mere iji gbanyụọ ọkụ ndị amụma Baal ma elu ma ala ọkụ enwughị ọkwa ya ka anyị nyere gị Chineke anyị nwekwere gị nke a n'olu na anyị ga-eji Biafra efe gị ọ gwụla onwe ihe ọzọ ka ụmụ anyị gwa ndị mmadụ na enwere chi maka ha echefugo chi imele eze udo n'ihi na ebu chi lakwa ndị iro anyị n'iyi ma ndị ka ịka na-ezo ezo mekwe ka ha pụta anyị na-atụ ụjọ ihe anyị nidiri yuzu anyị eyuzula sọsọ angel anyị dị redi maka anyị dị capable so ndị na-ezo ezo mee ka ha pụta ihe so that mgbe director ga-apụta ka ọ na anyị alụgbuola ha ka director hụ freeway ka o nwee ike duru anyị gawa n'aha gị chi ukwu okike abịa amara pụrụ ime ihe niile we have prayed. Ise. Thank you. Thank you, Muchineke. From me, the fearless IPOB evangelist, Mazi and from here, our homeland radio, Biafra. It is...
It is 1:42.
Okay, it is good afternoon. Thank you. Muchineke. See you there.
Nigeria west in a fair perosi, where Bulogo, Bulewe, Bulumanota, people Chapu Biafra, Mana Chupama, Biafra Garden, Magala, Onya Juru, Ada Jowea, Onya Juru, Ada Jowea. ụmụ Igbo na Hausa naanị bụ nwanne, ndị Biafra Yoruba naanị bụ nwanne, Yoruba na Hausa naanị bụ nwanne. Na mmegbu ibe gadị mbọ niile anyị gbarụ na Naịjirịa na-ekene gịnị ka ejiri kwụwanye ụgwọ ọnwụ ịgbasi ọkpọ alili mkpụtọ na mmegbu ibe gadị ozi niile anyị jere na Naịjirịa ka ọ dị mkpa ife jikwa anyị ụgwọ bụ ọnwụ ịkpasi ọkpọ alili mkpụtọ na mmegbu ibe gadị ozi niile anyị jere na Naịjirịa ka ọ dị mma ife jikwa anyị ụgwọ bụ ọnwụ ịkpasi ọkpọ alili mkpụtọ na mmegbu ibe gadị mkpụtọ na mmegbu ibe gadị
go straight to the doctor and see if I can get hold of him. Good evening, doctor. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Mazi. Hi.
Welcome back again on this platform. It is Constructive Argument. Biafrans are waiting. We are listening. Please, doctor, go ahead.
I greet you all this evening. All Biafrans, even the enemy can listen in, and all lovers of freedom. Greeting to you all. Thank you. Before I begin, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Mazi, am I coming out clearly?
Loud and clear, and I can assure you humanity are listening. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Well, today we'll continue on the journey. We have got to 30th of May in last broadcast when Biafra was declared. I hope if you follow the series, you understand the reasoning and the background to that declaration. It took a 1 full year from May 66 massacres to May 30th, 1967, before Biafra was declared. When Biafra was declared, the music that Mazi played for us was really a celebration, because we moved from Onwuzurua, which literally tried to dampen the pain we were going through at the time, to Ojukwu, thank you. Biafra has come to stay. So there was a celebrative sort of component to our existence from the 30th of May onwards. Not that we knew all the facts or all the background situation. There are very few people who knew how vulnerable Biafra was. But to every man on the street, that was it. We have now arrived. Ojukwu once said that being a sprinter himself, is like waiting for the gun to go. And, the status pistol, and if you're sprinting, if you understand what I'm talking about, if you're an athlete. So as soon as the gun goes, you just take off and start sprinting and show the world what you can do. That was the attitude Biafrans had. We now got our own country. We're now going to show the world what we're made up of. And why? Because, Nigeria, the Northerners have always wanted to be away from Nigeria. So they're the ones who've been playing to secede, and we've been holding Nigeria. The Westerners, Yoruba, always wanted to do the one nation. So now that they engineered in such a way that Biafrans, the Easterners, are now the ones that have left, it's a bit like good riddance. Nigeria can now do what it likes, so the Igbos have left. Well, it wasn't quite like that, was it? Because those who want black people, and indeed Africans and Nigerians, to be suppressed forever, said to the Nigerian leaders, if you allow the Biafrans to leave to form Eastern Nigeria in a different country, they've got the oil. Not only the oil, they have the actual trained manpower to run Nigeria. So we have a scenario. The children of Israel are leaving Egypt. Now you need to go and grab them, bring them back. If they refuse, you kill them. So that's really what Biafra was about. You are escaping from your enemy who wanted you to leave that part of the country, which you thought was yours. And then you got back to your own village. Now they want to kill you to bring you back in, to carry on killing you. So people need to understand that scenario. So, but to the Biafrans, there's no task was impossible. They just want to have their own country. So what do you think will happen to University of Nsukka? It was renamed University of Biafra straight away. We only had one university in that part of the world. So immediately they started planning to have another university at Port Harcourt. The schools, secondary school, everybody was being mobilized to run a country, which was so, it was going to be a pride of everybody. And we were so keen and eager to get on with running the country. In the meanwhile, our military, what is left of them, really done, if they were invaded, if we were invaded, we don't have a designated weapon to go and defend ourselves. But not very many people knew that. Because if you look at the Nigeria setup, I'm going to tell you for free that the way it was structured, there was a heavy concentration of military firepower in the north. Yeah? For example, the 3rd Battalion was in Kaduna. The 5th Battalion was in Kanu. The 1st Artillery Brigade was in Kaduna. The 1st Field Squadron Engineers was in Kaduna. The 88th Transport Regiment was in Kaduna. Nigeria Military Academy was in Kaduna. Ordnance Depot, Nigeria, was in Kaduna. The 44 Military Hospital was in Kaduna. Nigeria Military Training College in Kaduna. Reconnaissance Squadron and Regimental Headquarters, Kaduna. Nigeria Air Force, Kaduna. 6th Battalion, which was being formed, was in Kaduna. Ammunition Factory, Kaduna. Recruitment Transport Depot, Zaria. Nigeria Military School, Zaria. And of that, the Western Nigeria, you have 4th Battalion, Ibadan. 2nd Field Artillery, that was in Abeokuta, and the 2nd Reconnaissance Squadron, Abeokuta. What about the East? Of the 20 formations, we had 1 battalion in Enugu. And that battalion that was in Enugu, because of what happened in May, the soldiers from those parts were asked to return to their own part of origin. So the northerners who were in Enugu at the time took their weapons and they left Enugu. And they said they were going to defend this for them. And when they get to the northern Nigeria, they will return the weapons. They didn't return the weapon. So what I'm really illustrating there is that the East was defenseless. Okay? So you had all the heavy concentration in the north, and the people who set up Nigeria knew what they were doing, namely the British. They made sure where the firepower is will forever rule that country. So, but what are we to do? If we go to the north, they kill us. If we come back, they're coming to kill us. So you declare yourself a new nation. I think there's an Igbo saying that the chicken said he's not crying that the hawk will leave him alone. He's crying so that the whole world will hear his voice. Okay? So Okuko say, aye akwa HAUSA ebe hafia kama mo wani ne nudia. So that was the situation Biafran found themselves in. We had to scream to other countries so that they will hear us. The OAU, it was then, the Organization of African Unity, United Nations. If we didn't do Biafra as a country, a sovereign state, we will remain inside Nigeria and a state of emergency will be declared and be wiped out. So, if we go back to Nigeria, we get killed. If we stay where we are, we get killed. So it's a very, very difficult situation. But the morale, as that music we played earlier was saying, the morale was so high because you now have a country. So that was the only umbrella we had. We now have a country. So that is the background. So what did we do then? We had to learn a new national anthem. My goodness, I was in the primary school, and one day the teacher came out and showed us the new national anthem. And I'm going to just sing the Tony Sofa for everybody to hear. This is what I learned as a primary school person. And it says, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, do, re, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, do, re, mi. So, 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 la, mi, so, so, re, fa, fa, mi, do, re, mi. So, 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 la, mi, so, so, re, fa, fa, mi, do, re, do. So we learned new song for our new national anthem, and we have to try and learn it. So it's quite interesting. So I'm just going to share that with you. So new national anthem, it's not every day you get born and then you have a new national anthem being played. But in the UK, they have the God Save the King now being played. It used to be God Save the Queen. So there's sort of a change in that sort of atmosphere. So I'm just sharing with you little drop it, what was happening. So now, we have a nation to defend. Business was booming. People who fled from Lagos or whatever, they relocated. They started having the business all the towns in Biafra. Everything was going well. But you had 36 days. Remember, from the 30th of May to the 6th of July 1967. 36 days is what you're given as a country before war. Okay? And at this time, the coast was already blockaded. Nigeria have already gone and blockaded the coast. There was no plane flying in. You could only drive through Cameroon before that area was sealed off. So you're already isolated, and the war hasn't even started. Okay, let's fast forward. What's now going to happen? Nigeria, on the other hand, Gowon was threatening until you declared their Biafra. So I want you to, undeclare Biafra. In other words, renounce secession, or we're going to march across, arrest you in Enugu, and capture all the rebellion, all the rebels, and bring them for trial and court-martial you. So what Gowon was saying is that this Declaration of Independence you people made is not acceptable, and it's a treasonable act, and we're going to use a police action to arrest the Juku and bring him for trial, and stop all this shenanigans. And maybe what he really meant to say is to carry on killing the Igbos. So the phrase he coined was to unite Nigeria is an attack that must be done. The people call it the task that must be done. To keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. But the original statement was to unite, to keep Nigeria one is an attack that must be done. An attack that must be done. So, and that was in the radio jingles that we began to play. So while all this was happening, remember you had a new national anthem. We'll have to now have a new radio system, a new radio channel, a new radio station. And because BBC have got there before us, BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, we had to think about what to call ours. You call us a Biafran Broadcasting Corporation. That'd be copying, wouldn't it? Unlike the Biafran, very sharp people. So they say what we need to do is to call ourselves the BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra. Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra. And from that Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, you now have the Radio Biafra, which you and I are listening to today. So that is the origin of the Radio Biafra. This Radio Biafra, before the war started, you started having people coming up to talk to us, Radio Biafra. We had someone called Okukundem. Hey, my goodness. When I heard Nnamdi Kanu, I thought the spirit of Okukundem has risen again. So Okukundem, he was very fiery. He was a celebrated journalist. Student took on Radio Biafra and started, explaining to the Northerners, this nonsense they're playing at is not fair for us. And they started completely hammering them, so much so that Okukundem, when he comes on the radio and starts speaking, he can silence the whole Nigerian army. And so his speaking slowed them down, with the Juku saying, if they dare cross into Biafra land to attack us, even the grass will rise and fight. The grass will rise and fight. The grass will rise. So basically, they were preparing the minds of the people that if the war should come, well, we have no choice but to fight and defend ourselves. And nobody in Biafra thought if the war came, we were going to lose. Because in their mindset, what we had, if you're going to fight, well, Okonkwo, we take a knife, Abreba, we send the Abreba team to go and deal with it, guns and so on. Unknown to them, this is not a war you use man to man, spear arrows and machete. This is a modern warfare, okay? A modern warfare, you can shoot an artillery, which is about 15 miles, and during the war from Elede, in a land around the environs of Owerri, from Elede, about 15, 20 miles away. The artillery can land indiscriminately anywhere. So it's not a war you go in front and start, sword by sword. It's not a sword fight. So this is a modern war. And Nigeria had all the weapons, and we didn't. So that is already a disadvantage. So when the outsiders looked at the situation, they just sent a reporter like Freddie Forsyth. I wanted to go and cover the defeat of the Biafrans. So, the war hasn't even started. The BBC was planning to go there and report the surrender. Okay, I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just the mindset of the outside world. They say Biafrans, this thing will be over in 72 hours. What are they? I read you all the formations where the military was kept in Nigeria. Everything was in outside Biafra land. So how can you then fight a war? What, are you guys mad? What is the matter with you? So the scenario then was that the Biafrans have to get down to real, those in the know need to start thinking about how to protect this new land. Okay? So they formed an Institute of Technology straight away, and that Institute of Technology was beginning to help to plan how to defend this land and manufacture things for us. They had, yes, you heard me right, they had the Food Directorate. The Directorate was already in place. They had the Food Directorate, they had the Clothing Directorate, these are the people they were organizing to make sure we have some semblance, in case the war breaks out, what we're going to do to defend it. So I'm just going quickly now, just to make sure we're not bogged down. So by God's grace, we'll be able to have few time for people to ask some questions. So the preparation, I'm saying to you, was not what we would have liked it to be, because you're already blockaded. You're not bringing shipload of weapons to help to defend yourself. Whatever you have inside Biafra is what you had, and were few weapons that began to arrive. And dialing back to Aburi Accord, the opening sentence of Aburi, Ojukwu said, look, we hear that the people are buying weapons. And his name was Apollo. Yeah, one of the Nigerian soldiers was sent out to go and buy weapons to Nigeria. And Ojukwu was the former quartermaster general. Quartermaster is a person who knows what armor comes into your country as a military man. So, but Ojukwu has moved away from that to be governor of the eastern region. So he knew roughly what the weapons were. So the Gowon, in the Aburi Accord, in the Aburi discussion, they agreed that people were sending, soldiers to go and buy weapons from Nigeria. So it was decided that whatever weapons was bought, it will be shared among all the 4 regions to remove suspicion, and people should stop importing weapons. But the weapons that was imported was not shared. So to cut this long story not too short, the eastern region was really without any means of defending itself. So about 36 days is what they had. So I will now go and explain to you what happened as we waited for the assault to come, because Nigeria wasn't going to allow you to go. We'll say good riddance. Maybe if there was no oil in Biafra land, yeah, they would say, oh well, they have left Nigeria. Good riddance. There's no point us to. It's a good thing they left. Now we can all have peace and quiet, isn't it? But it wasn't like that. They wanted your oil. They wanted your land, but not your people. It became very obvious, and that is really why the fighting was so bitter. Because even though they came with all this heavy firepower, we sang songs like Chinedu, Sinala, Sina Mary, Biafra again, when Mary. There's something they forgot to calculate. That is the determination of Biafrans to survive. And that is, in any war, you declare any war, it doesn't matter how mighty you think you are. Yeah, might is not right. Might is not always right. Okay? Hitler tried it, but Operation Barbarossa, when Hitler tried to cross into Russia. I've forgotten how many miles long the front was, with millions of people he sent in to go and capture the whole of Russia. Well, he failed. Napoleon tried it before. He's going to drink tea in He's going to drink tea in Moscow. He did. He managed to drink tea in Moscow, but then there was nobody there to fight. He retreated, and the funny thing was that the buttons the French used for their coats under such a cold weather, the zinc that was made of fell off. So they died of pneumonia because they didn't have enough cover to keep them warm. So every time you set out to destroy people, every time you go to conquer people, whatever it is, whoever you think you are, if it's unfair as a fight, and you think, you can win because you have the firepower, just think that the people might want to live. Yeah, they wouldn't all surrender. They might want to live. They might want to, protect whatever God has given them. And in Biafra, we had so many miracles that occurred to keep us alive. So at the end of the fighting, it appears that the enemy realized, and as indeed was witnessed by outsiders, that before they came, they said, Biafrans were told, fight like heroes. And then when the French foreign minister came, he said he now knows that heroes, in fact, fight like Biafrans. So I'm taking you to the battle to see exactly what happened. The battle started, this so-called police action, police action, which Gawan called it, is just going to cross what he then called the East Central State, go into Enugu, capture Ojukwu, bring all his rebels, and try them and court-martial them and end this nonsense called rebellion. Yeah. So what was happening then is that the Biafrans, those in the know, was expecting an invasion because there was a lot of massing. Biafran Nigerian military troops were massing, meaning they're concentrating a certain part in the northern part of northern part of Biafra land around Makodi, right? So Nigerian troops were massing. All their equipment was supplied, were being, getting ready for an attack under Colonel Shua, who was going to launch the attack into Biafra land. When you launch an attack, you have a sort of a plan, a decoy. Yeah, just like in the Second World War, when the Allies attacked Germany or Nazi German Europe, they didn't just come across Calais. Calais from Dover to Calais is the shortest distance in England to France. So Hitler was waiting with all his firepower across Calais with some serious guns that can blow ships out of the water. But the Western Allies went all the way around to a place called Normandy. Okay, and the problem with that the Germans thought that was a decoy. But you're playing with intelligent people. Germans are very intelligent. Say, this is a decoy. We still wait for Calais. But then the decoy was not so much of a decoy, was the real thing. So that's what caught the Germans out. So by the time they realized it's a real invasion, then it was a little bit, the Allies had few more opportunity to get their toe in Europe, and then started taking land from France and so on, from German occupation. So in the Nigerian scenario, they attacked in two fronts. One at a place called Garkem. Garkem is the northeastern part of Biafra land and near Ogoja. So Garkem was one of the first places they attacked, and then at a place called Ugudu. And then you come to the Nsukka. Now, Nsukka is immediately ahead, literally north of Enugu, and Enugu is the capital. So if you're coming to attack, to capture Enugu, you will not come straight to Nsukka. You go via Ogoja area as a decoy. Okay, so there's a two-front attack, two-prong attack it's called. So this two-prong attack started off at a place called Garkem. Garkem is about 30 miles from Ogoja Township. Garkem. Now, so what did they do? Before they came to Garkem, the Biafran soldiers, and this information is coming from somebody called Alexander Madiebo, who is the GOC, the Biafran, who became the general officer commanding the Biafran army. He wrote an article. He wrote about the actual war event. So if you want to study it, that is where most of the information about the war is, about the actual battlefield and what happened. So our Alexander Madiebo, he was in the Biafran military commander. He was trained along with Gowon at Sandhurst. He was there when Yakubu Gowon was called Jack Gowon with the Sergeant Major at Sandhurst. Sergeant Major came down, everybody was telling their name, and Yakubu Gowon said, "What is your name?" He was asked, "What is his name?" He said, "My name is Yakubu Gowon." So that name sounds like Jack. Can I call you sir? Can I call you Jack? Yeah. So that's how he called his name Jack. So this Madiebo was in the same class as Gowon, and he would train in the artillery, the Nigerian artillery brigade, if you like. He knows about the artilleries. So he happens to be around the northern part of Biafra, which is where the battle started, this Garken place, when this took place. Another side to it. You can always hear the Nigerian side or how they attacked us, but this is the Biafran side of the story. So you have it. If Nigeria has ever published what they did, so you need to hear it. So in other words, the Ogoja area was when the whole thing started. So the General Madiebo actually died this year on the 3rd of June. I know most of you might know this. He was 90 years old. He was one of the remaining Biafran commanders. So he died on the 3rd of June, 2022. So he's 90 years old. So I'm reading, therefore, from his book. I haven't studied it. So this is where the first battle, opening shots, okay, in the Biafran-Nigerian War, this is where it was documented. So it's a battle at Garkem. The night before that Garkem operation, went to visiting as a superior officer, checking how ready are we in defending the land. So he went to the northern part of Biafra land to check those who are in the front, close to Nigeria. Okay, so when he got there, he realized that the commanding officer, who was supposed to be looking after a battalion, a brigade of Biafrans, was actually in hospital. He was ill. So the second lieutenant. So the captain was in hospital, but the second lieutenant was the one. He didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't even trained properly. So he told them off. He said, "What are you guys playing at? Now, come on, let's dig some trenches." It's a dug trenches at an area where they thought would be good for defending. So a trench is when you dig a hole in the ground, and not that you're going to bury the person, but you're actually going to go in there. So that if there's a shell or a rifle, you can actually, a bullet, you may be able to have somewhere to hide. Okay, so it's very, very important. You dig a trench. And during the war, we dug trenches. And I say we, that is how we survived in the war environment, because the war was cut off and Nigerians were trying to recapture it. And they were shelling. Shelling means they're sending artillery, and it can land on your head, it can land on your house, it can land anywhere. So what we did was to dig holes in the ground and put palm tree trunks over those holes and filled it with sand. So now if the artillery land directly on it, of course you died anyway. But if you land outside it, you would live. So it's a trench. A trench in warfare is very, very important. You dig in and you protect yourself from all the shrapnels that will be flying around if you're standing or not if you're in an open place. So, having explained that, so this commanding officer told the soldiers off and said, "You better dig the trench. What do you think you're playing at?" So he showed them. They dug the trench and they got ready. So the very next day after digging this trench, at 5:30, 5:30 in the morning, in Garkem. So for those who want to know the history, on the 6th of July, 1967, at 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 hours, at Garkem, they opened up. Nigerians opened up with a barrage of artillery. The heavy, what they call preparatory bombardment. You're preparing the ground. You're softening the ground by throwing lots and lots of heavy artillery over the area you're about to march across. So the heavy mortars Yeah, extremely heavy ones sustained for over from 5:30 to about 9 o'clock, non-stop. So people who heard it thought, oh, there's some thunder, in the distance. Thunder. So this commander of the army knew, because he trained in artillery. He knew it was Nigerian artillery, and the war has therefore started. So that is how it came about. So those who were there initially, they were hiding inside the trench they dug, yeah, where this artillery was raining down on them. As they threw all this artillery, then the Nigerians sent in the APCs, armored personnel carriers, and we call Saladins and Saracens. The Saladin, there were 3 Ferret cars and 1 Saladin. These are the vehicles. The Verve is a bit like a tank. You can, if you shoot at them, the bullet will not touch the people inside it, but they can hose you down with bullets. So it's like a protective gear. So those ones, after the shelling, they send those 4 APCs across, yeah, to cover the ground. So those ones then went ahead. So our boys or Biafran troops were inside the trenches, so they allowed these things to pass. They didn't challenge them because you can't challenge them with your rifles. After that, then the Nigerians send in their own troops, the battalions of Nigerian troops, yeah, were then following the tank. So they shelled you, then they bring the armor personnel, which they're then following behind. So the armor personnel passed by, and then these Nigerian troops have followed them. And then the people who dug the trench went on the either side, so that when they pass by, they're now behind them. Okay, does that make sense? So that's how the encounter started. Of course, when the shelling started, the Biafran started sustaining injury. They're being carried away. But then, when the actual shooting was when the Nigerian infantry came across. Yeah. So for those who know little about military tactics, is like you have prepared the ground, you then send in the armored personnel. Right, there were 3 Ferret cars once again and 1 Saladin armored vehicles. These came in at 9 o'clock, and then the Land Rover was mounted with 106 recoilless rifle anti-tank gun, which moved in to attack armored vehicles, and they're raining bullets. So if they're spraying on the village, on all the mud huts, it just knocks this down. There's no defense whatsoever. Okay, so they approached our troops. So what happened? Our troops went on both sides of the flank to make contact with the enemy and then attack them. So this is what happened. The armored personnel carriers bypassed. The Biafran troops bypassed them, and they carried on going to the village to terrorize and kill as many people as they could. But the Biafran troops made contact with the assaulting enemy infantry. Yeah, so they're advancing. The half-heartedly, they were 400 yards from the village. Now therefore fighting began, and each enemy battalion poised against 2 battalions. The Biafrans had 2 platoons. The platoon is about 50 or 60 number of troops. A battalion is over 100. Yeah. So imagine 2 of them, and then you're faced with 2 platoons of Biafran army. So there's already a mismatch. Now, after 2 hours of intense exchange of fire, the enemy turned round and broke into a run back towards where they started, their start line. So they were obvious surprised for the reason they suffered heavy casualty, and they considered a number of prisoners of war. Biafrans captured some of the Nigerian troops, and one of them turned out to be what the author says a bore. He was just boring them with his whining and complaining. Several hours, muttering to himself. This is what he said. In other words, the Biafrans have arms and ammunition. In other words, the Biafrans had arms and ammunition. In other words, the Biafrans had arms and ammunition. Nobody could stop him, because what surprised him was that he was told that the Biafra just march across and capture them and come home. The war will be over in 72 hours. So when he was surprised that Biafra were able to shoot back at them, so he said, in other words, It didn't call you the Easterners. It didn't call you the Igbo. It said the Biafrans. So if you don't think you are a Biafran, an enemy coming to kill you is calling you a Biafran. Okay? So take that as a note. So they're calling you Biafrans, even in the first opening shot of the war. Yeah? So remember, Biafra was declared 36 days earlier. They are calling you Biafrans, even in the heat of the battle. So in other words, the Biafrans have arms and ammunition. I wish we had enough. Anyway, that's another story. So that is the first encounter, which I think most of us are not familiar with. They will tell you that Biafrans declared, Ojukwu declared Biafra and attacked Nigeria, so that's why Nigeria started the war. Here is it in black and white. The person they captured was not carrying a handcuff. Okay, the armored personnel were not police marked. These are soldiers. Okay, Nigeria had plenty of them. Some of them were trained in the Second World War. We just came up and we had to form a new military. Yeah, from scratch, because those battalions that were staying in Enugu have already left. What was left was technicians and cooks. They didn't have any weapons, so we had to start from scratch. And to make the matter worse, the Biafrans who were in the Nigerian army on the 29th of July, most of the officers, over 200 of them, were massacred. So the people who could fight for you were wiped out. You have no weapons, and you have to defend yourself. So those are the situations we found ourselves on the 6th of July, 1967, when the war started. So now that the Biafran have surprised the Nigerians, okay, at the opening shots, the Biafran troops were now anxious to exploit their success. Imagine the excitement, yeah? They charged down and advanced and soon run into a heavy enemy fire. So when they charged, then, because if you manage to stop the enemy, yeah, you then chase them only to run into another flank of enemy waiting for you in front of them, yeah? And then from the armored personnel, the vehicles which went to which passed them earlier on is now speeding back, has turned around because these troops are no longer joining them. So the troops turn round. So the armored vehicles turn around to chase the Biafrans, and then the other ones who are waiting for them find. So you can imagine the confusion. So their troops again moved out of the flanks to allow the armored personnel carrier to pass by. Again, from there, the troops returned to their trenches at Gakem. So they came back to where they started, a face of fierce concentration of artillery. So having got there, then the enemy can only shoot at them from a distance with artillery firepower. So because they have dug a trench, and that trench protected them during the night, and then to allow them to withstand the bombardment. Okay, so I just want to pause there for a second, because that is to remind you that the opening encounter was at Gakem. Gakem is about 30 miles from Ogoja town, and it was in the northern east uttermost northeastern part of Biafra land. But remember, I said to you, they also came to another part, which is in Nsukka. Okay, so what's happened is that I'll tell you briefly about Obudu. Yeah, so at Obudu, yeah, while the Battle of Gakem was raging, this fighting on that front, that side, they're also fighting at Obudu. Now, the similar battle pace was also happening. So this time is the Biafran D Company, the 1st Battalion. Yeah, this was stationed at Obudu. They're extremely strong. This time, the Nigerian troops are meeting some people who are actually in the Nigeria, who were formerly in the Nigerian, as well led by a Captain Michael Olehi. Olehi was the captain in the Nigerian army before the war started, and he has half of his company, of 450 men. They were old Nigerian soldiers, with the commander himself in a position to boast 18 years of military service. So this time, they're going to meet not just new recruits, but really toughened soldiers. So at the end of the 2 hours of bombardment, again, Nigeria opened up bombardment, lasted from 6 to 8. The enemy then put in a straightforward infantry attack. That was quickly halted and beaten back because Biafran troops are well disciplined and well trained. Then we followed them into an immediate counter-attack. They launched into an attack to chase the Nigerians, but which was so successful that the enemy was completely routed and sent on the run. The enemy casualties were very heavy, and the amount of stores captured, equipment and weapons they captured was considerable. During the almost uncontrollable chase, which followed, many enemy stragglers were taken prisoners. By midday, we had captured enough weapons to form another army armed platoon, and only limitations being the actual restricted quantities of ammunition captured with these weapons. So you capture them, but you need to put bullets inside them. So I just explained in the two battles, one of them, Biafrans were waiting for them, were really strong, well-trained and well-disciplined. So they were able to hold their own in that sense at the Budin. Okay? So because I want this discussion to be interactive, I just showed you the opening shots of what happened in Biafra. There have been many more battles because the war was about 30 months. There are so many areas we're going to discuss so that our people will have some idea of what actually went down. It's not a police action. Nobody they captured there was a policeman with their handcuffs to come and arrest Ojukwu and take him back to Lagos. It didn't happen like that. They invaded Biafra. Nigeria crossed the border and attacked Biafra with shelling, with armored personnel carriers, all sorts of heavy artillery, weaponry, and the soldiers marched in to kill. And they were repulsed in the first one. Now, so that's what was happening. What about the general public? Biafrans, obviously, you don't know what's going on because you're nowhere. For example, in Port Harcourt, you were miles away from the battle scene. And in those days, you don't have telex, you don't have, you can't just send someone a text and say the war has started and so on. So how did the general public, what gave them the inclination that there's something amiss, right? Well, here's where Radio Biafra comes in again. So this Radio Biafra is very impressive. So Radio Biafra was there on the day the war started, okay? So what happened on the 6th of July 1967? It was in the afternoon. By the way, 6th of July was on a Thursday, okay? So in the afternoon, the Radio Biafra started sounding battle drum beats, okay? These battle drum beats was like Abreba and Uzoitem clan war drum beats. So the radio suddenly started playing drum beats, okay? These drum beats went on for a long time, okay? So the interesting thing is that imagine you've been playing normal radio and suddenly this drum beat started, okay? So those who had the radio to listen to was wondering, what is going on? Something must be happening. So at long last, it's like when the Queen died or any major person died, there's a change in scenery in broadcast. That's exactly happened in Radio Biafra. So after long, drum beats, there's suddenly somebody came on the radio with a depressed voice announcing thus, this quote unquote, His Excellency is going to address the nation shortly, so stay tuned. Okay? So, and then the drum beat went on again. Oh, no. And then everybody was obviously waiting, pausing. Well, what's going to happen? What has happened? So before the evening news, the drum beat then stopped. Then came the sympathetic but energized voice of His Excellency, Lieutenant Kanu, who came on radio on the 6th of July 1967, and he said, paraphrased, fellow Biafrans, at the early hours of this morning, some brigades of Nigerian army attacked our Biafran soldiers in 3 sectors at the northern border. But our gallant soldiers repelled them. And then, unquote, he ended the speech by stressing the need for everybody to be eternally vigilant, for eternal vigilance. And I remind you that Ojukwu's number plate was, if anyone knows his number plate, he put VIG1, Vigilant 1. So that's his number plate. So that's an interesting one to drop in. Okay, so what I've done here is to tell you on the day there's Radio Biafra went into war as well. Okay, there was a change in the Radio Biafra announcements, and to set the scene for Ojukwu to make the announcement that the war has started, Nigeria crossed over and attacked us. Okay, so I think this is just a taste of what happened between the 36 days, 30th of May to the 6/7/67 when the war started. And I think I ought to pause here and take some questions or interact and talk, because I want people to, ask questions and learn. If I can't answer a question, maybe I may go and find out the answer and come back to you another time. But Mazi or Noha, I hope this is okay.
All right, Mazi, I tell you what we are going to do. I'm going to open the line, but meanwhile, because obviously it takes a bit of a while before the call starts coming in on the WhatsApp line. So what you're gonna do is you will continue, and as soon as a call comes in, I will alert you, and then of course we give chance for the call. We take the question, and then So if you may continue while I open the lines, and then we wait for the calls to come through.
Okay, that's good. All right. So now.
And please, one more thing. Sorry. One more thing. Let me announce the numbers to call. So if you are listening right now, it is Constructive Argument on Radio Biafra with Mazi Kechukwu-Onoha. And of course, we're talking Biafran history. And I am opening the line in case if you want to call, you have a question, historical, that you want to ask our guest this evening. Please call on our WhatsApp line. And the numbers are +27 740 678 412. I repeat, +27 740 678 412. And for the last time, +27 740 678 412. That is our WhatsApp line, and that is the number you can call. We will take your question. You don't have to give a long speech, just ask a question, and then we will take it from there. So we are waiting for your question. Please don't call on the Skype line, because our Skype line is engaged. Our guest is currently on the Skype line. Just call on this WhatsApp line. Many of you knows this line. All right, Mazi, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'll double back and say, before the war started, you can't work in isolation. Okay, in other words, the world where Biafra Nigeria is a war, but you have to remember they both are in the planet Earth. Yeah, so you have to look at what is happening outside Nigeria in the world. So the geopolitics of the world at the time was that of Cold War. Now, what does that mean? It means the West was arraigned against the communist Russia. Okay, so they are vying to see who would dominate the planet. Both had their weapons. So this war, Biafra Nigeria, was in the Cold War environment. Okay, the second thing was the Vietnam War was on. Okay, so the media might be more interested in Vietnam than Nigeria Biafra War. Okay, then prior to that, 6-day war. The 6-day war is on the 5th of June to 10th of June, where Israel was fighting the Arab nations. The massed Arab nation united to fight Israel. Okay, so as a result of that 6-day war, which Israel gained more territories, there was then a blockade of the Suez Canal. So there was what we call the energy crisis started, which we have at the moment. So the oil that was coming from the Middle East wasn't going through the Suez Canal. So immediately, the UK, for example, needs oil. They need the oil to run the industry, but it's not coming through Suez Canal. They've already gone to war before to open the Suez Canal, but this time it was blocked after a 6-day war. The Arab nation wanted to boycott anyone sending oil to the West because they perceived that the West was supporting Israel and so on. So,
all right, Mazi, if you can hold on for this, I think I have a caller. Let's go to the caller and see what question the caller have. Caller on WhatsApp, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mazi Kechkwano.
Mazi, good evening. Please, your names and where you calling, and then, of course, you give us your question, and then you listen on the background. Thank you.
Yes, Ndewo, my dear brother, Mazi Kechkwano, and our Honorable Dr. Okachi. I want to thank you. In fact, I've been following this program right from the first one until date. The thing is that from the first history, from the first, what would I call it now? Is it history of what happened to our people till today? It has been. I've not my perception of the way I view Nigeria before has changed. You know, if my hatred was, should I say, 100% before, it has doubled. You know, because of the series of massacres, because of everything. And I want to thank Dr. Okachi for bringing this to the notice. But I want to make a request that if it's possible, there was, I don't know if it is the part 2 or part 3, where he talked about the witnesses, the people that were witnessing for the massacre in Castina, Sokoto. If it can be made like a form of hard copy, you know, a short hard copy, and I'm sure Biafrans are willing to have it in any way, in any form, because sometimes, you know, in audio,
Mazi,
it can be lost.
Mazi, please, just to summarize, because of time and there's a lot of caller waiting, do you want to ask a question or just the request?
Yes, the request, and then also it's not a question. One thing I want Dr. Kaji to tell us, please.
Yes.
Why do we have a lot of our people? There was a day you asked him this question, but the answer was not very clear to me. I want to know, after all the massacre, even before the war and the one after the war, why do we still have a lot of our people in the north today? I want to know. I want to know. You've asked him this question. All right, but
Mazi.
He's
going to answer it now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ndebo. All right, Doctor, I don't know if you get the question.
No, I did not hear fully.
All right, let me say he first of all he made a request in one of your history lesson part 2 where you spoke about the eyewitnesses, you know, during the war. So he said if you can make it available in hard copy, it will be appreciated. That was a request he made. And then he asked a question. He said that upon all the massacring of our people before and during and after the war, why do we still have Biafrans still living in the north? That was his question. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I don't know what your name is. Thank you for asking. The actual evidence I've already mentioned in those earlier talks. Those people who are massacred in the north, they had to give evidence before a judge, okay, in a tribunal. That tribunal is called the Report of Justice GCM Onyuke Tribunal. Is summarized by saying this massacre of Ndibo in 1966. There's a book. It's not an article. It's just a book which gives a summary of what the massacre was about. Okay, so get hold of Justice Onyuke Onyuke Tribunal. Is the Eastern Nigerian at that time government documentation of what happened to Ndibo in the north. Okay, now they have been killed during the war, before the war rather, which that one was about. Now, although they're entering Ogoja now, you're going to see what they did to people they caught. They kill more people. So to answer your question, why are they still in the north? I think, Mazi, I know how you asked me this question last time.
Yes, I did.
Yes, and I've answered it. I said, if you had proper infrastructure in the south, in the eastern region, in the Biafran land, if they had trains, if they had airport, if they have access to the sea where you're importing things, they would not be outside Biafra land. They don't need to. Yeah, they would develop that Biafran land. Now, but the problem now is not just them being in the north. Is even if they came back to the part we call Biafra land, they're being killed. There are people waiting for them in the farms, in the forest. There are people waiting for them in their town. They have to pay toll fee every corner they pass. So Nigeria is a mess for them. So wherever you are, you're not safe. So that's where we need Biafra. So what I will advise them, wherever you are, so start thinking about having a country where when Biafra comes, all you have in the north, which is your properties and so on, and therefore you're a bit reluctant and hesitant in joining the Biafra movement. Those properties would and should be guaranteed because you'll be a foreigner in your own country and they can then take your property. But at the moment, you claim to be a Nigerian, they can kill you anytime and take your property. So that's the dilemma we find ourselves. I wish I have all the answers. Thank you very much.
All right, Doctor, I still have another caller on WhatsApp. Let's go and find out what question he has. Caller on WhatsApp, Mazi Simon, can you hear me? Please turn down your radio. Turn down your radio, Mazi.
I'm out.
All right.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Simon. I'm calling from Ameria, Spain. The Chukwu Kikabiyama bless every IPOB family member all over the world. Bless our able leader, Onyendu. Anywhere he is, Chukwu Kikabiyama will be with him. Protect all IPOB family members all over the world. You see?
You see?
They won't know money. Okachi Ibem. They will. Otelen Shawara, Mama has in Keneme. Daddy, and in the Kwasa on Deka. Rodrigo.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go ahead and ask your question, and I will relate to him. Maybe he's not hearing you very well. Go ahead.
I'm not hearing you properly. So quickly talk to Mazi and then
yes, go ahead. Ask your question, and I will relate to him.
Daddy, I why This go to you. They don't catch it. Anyway, EJ about Chinua. I want to know about Chinua project. Did.
All right. So the question is, you want to know about Chinua project? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, Mazi. Okay, then I will put the question across to him.
So is he not hearing?
No, it's fine. It's all about question. I will ask him, and then you need to drop the phone, and then you will listen on the background. He will answer the question.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
On this occasion, I think I heard Chinua project. Is that right?
Yes, that's what he's asking. Chinua project. Yes, please go ahead.
Excellent. Who's asking?
Mazi Simon Anyanugo from Spain, Ameria, Spain.
Yeah, my brother, Simon. Nice to hear from you, sir. Okay. Chinua project is something, by God's grace, I will explain more on a platform like this. Chinua project is about the economic genocide meted on Biafrans, because after the war, they made sure those people who had money in the bank didn't access it. They shut us down. So if you had £1,000 in the bank, you're only allowed £20. If you had £5 in the bank, you're not allowed to have £20. Yeah? And there's a change in currency which caught Biafrans out. It's something with the permission of Ike or any other radio platform to explain properly to people. I've already presented it in Radio Biafra before. And lots of people waiting to understand more about it. Is whereby we reverse the economic genocide which the Nigeria meted on us, whereby those who survived the war and they went back to their bank and said, bank manager, oh, well done, you survived the war. So yes. Can I have my money now, please? Oh, What money are we talking about? Oh, do you know the amount I had in my bank account before I ran away from Zaria? Yes. How much is it? Oh, 20,000. Okay. 20,000 pounds. Yeah. Okay. Can I have maybe 2,000 to start my business again? No. The government said you only allow 20 pounds ex gratia. Out of the kindness of their heart, they only give you 20 pounds. So you go home and you died of heart failure because you survived the war. You probably lost members of relatives. You want to start a business. The money you have, you cannot access it. So what I did was to look into the possibility of utilizing that knowledge to rebuild Biafrans in their economic endeavor. So with the opportunity, I'll talk about it more. Okay, because it's an important project. Simon, thank you very much. Briefly, is when the Biafrans wake up and realize that economically, if we all get together, and I've outlined it already in the radio, it is possible as a nation for Biafrans throughout the world to raise 1 billion in one day. And I'll explain how that is possible in our radio broadcast. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for that, my brother Simon. I'm sure you've heard the answer to that. The Chinua project, he will emphasize more on next time. All right. Let's go back to the line. Caller on WhatsApp. I don't know if you can hear me. Caller on WhatsApp.
Yeah, Mazi, good evening, sir.
Good evening from here, Mazi. Please, your name and where you're calling from. Then you ask your question.
Yeah, I'm calling from Hong Kong. My name is Ndoka Chukwudije.
My
question is, he said they were collecting weapons from Nigerian government, but they don't have bullets. So how did I get bullets?
All right, brilliant. Yeah, I'm going to ask him that. Okay, you can stay back on the background, and then, of course, I will relay your question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right, Doctor, I don't know if you heard that. He said that you spoke about...
I didn't hear this.
All right, let me relay to you. He said that you told us that the Biafran armies were collecting weapons from the Nigerian soldiers, but they don't have the bullets. So how did they end up getting the bullets? That was his question.
Okay, when you in the heat of the battle, the enemy drops a weapon, like let's say a rifle, you pick that up. You don't have necessarily the bullet to go inside it because you didn't collect the bullets as well. The bullet is stored somewhere else. So that's the point I'm making. Right. You captured as much of the equipment of the enemy, but sometimes you don't have the arms. There's something called arms and ammunition. Yeah. The rifle and the bullet, they're different things. You can carry the weapon, but if there's nothing going inside it, it's not going to work, is it? So when you capture the stores of the enemy, you may not necessarily have the same caliber to match it when you get to your home, because when you run out what you captured, you haven't got anything to replace it. Take the mortar bombs, for example. You can capture a mortar. A mortar is something you drop a bomb into and it takes off and blows up the enemy. The actual machine itself, you can carry it, you captured it. But if you don't have the bomb to use it, it's not as effective. That's the point I'm making. Okay? I hope that's explained it.
All right. That's correct. Thank you very much. All right, go ahead. I don't have a caller holding, but you can continue. If a caller comes in, I will alert you.
Okay, so we were talking about the background, the geopolitical situation in the world at the time of the war. Okay, I said the Cold War, the Vietnam, the 6-Day War. The 6-Day War affected us more because the Israelis, they captured more territory from the Arabs. The issue here was the Arabs retaliated by blocking the Suez Canal and causing an oil embargo. So there was just like we have now, there's an energy crisis. The Western world needed the oil badly through the Suez Canal. So if they're not getting oil from Suez Canal, where else are they going to get the oil, I wonder? Britain knew that oil in Biafra land...
Doctor, if I may come in, are you saying that the 6-Day Arab-Israeli war was happening the same time during Biafran war? Is that correct?
No, it occurred in June.
All right.
June 1st to June 10th. So it was a fresh war, which has an impact on Biafrans, where most people don't know this. Yeah? Because if there's an oil embargo, Britain needs oil badly. Yeah? And the only way you can get the oil is in Biafra land. And that had a huge impact on our survival. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
So they were saving the oil in Biafra land, okay, as a reserve. But now they have to come for it. Because the oils, the North Sea oil hasn't started then. This is 1966, 67. When they discovered oil in Biafra land, they had more reserves than Kuwait at the time. Okay, but they didn't tell the Biafrans or the Nigerians the exact amount of oil they had in their land. They kept it to themselves. And when they went to look for oil, I think it was 1908 when they discovered oil in Biafra land. But they told you they discovered oil in mercantile quantity in 1958. Okay. So by 1968, 66, 67, the oil was flowing from Biafra. So they needed it badly. And it's not just any old crude oil. This was the purest in the world at the time, sulfur-free. So the Biafran oil will have an impact on what happens to Biafrans, because the British are not going to let it go, because they need it to run the economy. You can't have energy crisis and people in Biafra land. For them, that is secondary. They need to survive as a country. You've got to have the oil. It's got to flow. But the Biafrans never say we're not going to give Britain the oil, but somehow they feel that they must kill Biafrans to keep the oil. I don't understand it.
I understand, yes.
So these are the situations we have to understand, that the world didn't want us to exist because they felt if we have the oil and some trained personnel in Biafra land, you can develop rapidly as a nation, and that will change the geopolitical situation on the planet, because for the first time you have an African nation that can stand on its own, and you can have that in the 60s, especially in the Cold War scenario. Okay, so those are the areas you have to look at, because nothing happened in isolation. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about
I got there. Before you continue, let me put this call through, and then we get this question, and then I will let you continue. Caller on WhatsApp, can you hear me, please? Oh, hey, Biafra. Good evening, Mazi. Your names, please, where you calling from, and your question.
My name is Mazi. I'm calling from France, and I'm a native of Abreba.
All right.
I had a doctor talking about the Abreba people and also the Udbende boys. That if you take the second and the third interview, and they say after the war of Biafra, after the ending of the war of Biafra, then the Abreba boys and they wanted to go back to the north and continue the struggle, but to stop them. I want to know, those Abreba boys, are they soldiers, the Biafran soldiers, or are they just common men that are eager to continue the struggle of Biafra? That's the first question. The second
All right,
question,
hold on, Mazi. Before you go to the second, let me make sure I get your question. You say that after the war, there are some Abreba and Bende boys who want to go to the north to continue the struggle. Is that what you said?
They wanted to go back to the north, continue the struggle.
Okay. Yes. So you wanted to know if those boys are soldiers or just ordinary people?
Are they Biafran soldiers or?
All right. What is your second question? What is your second question, Mazi? Your line is a bit wobbling, but I'm managing to get.
The second question is, I had our leader used to say that the original copy of the Biafran buckets and other missiles was destroyed. But is it the Biafran you have the original copy or the blue copy still remaining today or not?
All right, I get your question. Thank you very much. I will put your question to the doctor. Ndeo Mazi. All right. The line was a bit noisy, but I think I managed to get the question. He asked that he said that I don't know if he said you spoke about some Abreba and Ben the boys after the Biafran war. They wanted to go back to the north to start the struggle. Now the question is asking, are those boys Biafran soldiers or individuals? I don't know if you get that, Doctor.
Okay. I did not hear about any Abreba boys going up to the north after the war. There was Abreba contingent that went to Enugu to try and defend Enugu, during the war. Now, the issue was the Abreba, there's this tradition where to be an Abreba warrior, you have to go and bring somebody's head or something like that. So they are given bags to go and collect heads, just like David was asked to go and collect some foreskins of his enemies. So the issue here it's not that type of war. It's not where you take a knife and go and chop somebody's head off when the person's got a rifle or got an artillery before you. So the Abreba contingent that went to the north, which is north of Biafra, which is around the Enugu area, when Enugu was about to fall. They had just had one shelling and they decided to take the train and go to Umuahia and to complain to Juku. But that's a different story. That's another story altogether.
All right.
But I don't think they went to the northern part of Nigeria to start any guerrilla warfare. The world expected Biafrans to fight in the guerrilla warfare. But I don't think he used knife. It's not the type of war you need. So I don't recall reading anywhere about the Abreba boys going up to the north. I could be mistaken.
All right, brilliant. Now, the second question was, he's asking about the copies, the plan of the Ojukwu bucket and some of the ammunitions which was produced by Biafran scientists, during the war. He's asking, where are the original copies? Were they destroyed or are they still around?
Yeah. Yes, very good question. The issue with Biafra scientists during the war, they did extremely well. We hear about it. Ojukwu was in a meeting and someone sent him a note and said, we discovered a rocket. He couldn't believe it. He came out of the meeting and they launched it in the lawn where he was. It just took off. He was flabbergasted. And these people tried to build planes. He said, we didn't succeed, but we tried. The actual spirit in Biafra was beyond belief. They were able to do anything. They just put their mind in it, okay? So now, after the war, they were disbanded, okay? They were scattered around. So it was such that you couldn't get anybody. Nigeria could have tapped on their knowledge to develop what is called the ammunition industry. But Nigeria feared that if we allowed them, they'd be like Germany, they'd be like Japan. They would develop, even though they were defeated, they will have some knowledge that will help Biafra to restore. So anything to do with ingenuity that was created in Biafra was not allowed to thrive. They will come and, in fact, there's a computer that was sent to the East Central State then after the war, and they came and covered it, so nobody would develop from it. They had a jet turbo engine from a person who was coming to show them how to develop a plane from East Russia, for Russian, who used to be Stalin's engineer, to come to UNN, University of Nigeria, but they shut that program down, so it doesn't teach them how to do turbo engines. So there are so many efforts. In fact, the person who manufactured the car, the first car in Nigeria, the engine, all the thing he used, the block was taken to Lagos, is it Abuja, for further investigation, and never allowed to see the light of day. So everything technological that was decided to come from the East was confiscated or blocked by the federal government to make sure he did not rise economically, technologically. So is their loss.
Because
anyway,
because when I was growing up, there was an uncle of mine. He's my uncle. His name is Simon Nwachukwu. He was a professor and a scientist at the University of Enugu at those days. Nsukka? I don't know what you call it. He was at the University of Nsukka. So he was among the people who actually discovered the Ojukwu buckets. So I still believe that the copies of those innovations should be lying around somewhere. It's just that we never took it serious. People were still trying to survive after the war, and nobody give a damn about those important documents.
Yes. Well, I'm sure the Ojukwu bucket, what they call the Wunigwe, run on what they call the Monroe principle in physics. But that's a different thing. They developed a weapon that has so many Richter scales, an incredible development, but it wasn't allowed to be further manufactured by the Nigerian short-sighted leaders. So that was that anyway. So you're right, it may be lying somewhere, but the generation that developed it are obviously leaving us. As I just told you, the commander is now 90 and he died this year.
All right,
so
Doctor, the calls are still coming in. You tell me when to stop, because Biafrans are not going to stop until you stop. All right, let's take this one. Caller on WhatsApp, can you hear me? Good evening from here.
Good evening. Sorry, I was calling on a direct line, so I actually want to find out, does direct line not working on this particular line?
Direct line, I don't know. It's not working because it's a WhatsApp line strictly. But you can talk to me. You can talk to me if possible.
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Okay, I have two questions, but let me start from this. Number one question is that Uncle Onyemuchechukwu, Uncle, he said something that touched me. He said that this war started from Gakim, a place called Gakim, close to, is it Ogoja or something? And I actually want to find out something, because people are saying that Ojukwu, our uncle Ojukwu, did not consult the elders of the land before engaging on that war. So now my question is this: is he confirming it now from telling us that this war that started from Gakim have something to do with the consultants, or maybe the agreement, concise agreement of the elders of the whole areas of both rivers, they call rivers recently, and every other person? Because I actually heard from Oyendi saying that it was the people who reminded us, our uncle Ojukwu, that we should go back to who we are. So now I'm asking him, is he confirming it now that these people, Gakim is a part of Biafra, and also that everybody is in the awareness of this? Because in the recent time,
Mazi, hold on before we get lost. Your question is, did Ojukwu consult before embarking on the war? Was that your question?
Yeah, because there is an argument in Biafra land that he did not consult the elders, like Ohaneze and the P2B is denying that when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not tell them what he's doing. Right. So I want him to let me off on that. Then another one is this. Okay. That's the sir, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. I'm listening to you, Mazi.
Okay. The second question is this: considering the first person that called in, or sorry, the second person that called in, talking about how there is a question he asked, which related into giving us 20 pounds and all that. All right. So I just want to find out this: the Abam people, as in the Abriba people and the Item people, are they the real people who started this fight from that section of Gakim, or they were the people in charge of publicity to let the people know from their drum war beats? Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I made myself
All right. Thank you very much. I will relay your question. Thank you very much. All right, Doctor, I'm trying to understand.
I didn't hear any of those questions.
Yes, I'm going to relate that to you. First question was, did the general, consult with the elders and Biafran people before going to war? That was his first question. According to him, there were some arguments that he did not consult. All right. That was the first question. And then the second question was, who were those in Gakem that actually, defended Biafra land when the war started in Gakem? So I don't know if you got the two questions.
Yeah, I'll tackle the second one first. The Gakem were the Biafran soldiers, yes? So what happened, as I said, there were people who returned from other parts of Nigeria who were actually in the military at the time. So they were deployed. We had the command of the northern Biafran area. There's the riverine region around Onitsha, and then of course around Port Harcourt. So there's battalions being formed to try and defend areas of Biafra land. So there were Biafrans all over. They can come from any village, any town to join the army. I remember when one of the villages I was in during the war was attacked on Christmas Day 1968. Yeah, the Nigerian troops opened up and the rifle was flying over, the bullet was flying over our head. So the Biafran soldier that turned up with his rifle said to us, "Bano nolo odi fole." Now, let me explain what I'm saying by that. He said, go inside is nothing. Now, this is Owerri. Now, that accent is not Owerri. So he could have come from other part of the country. So in other words, not people in Gakem.
It sounds like a Hafia. It sounds like a Hafia or Abreba language, yeah.
Exactly. It could be. So what I'm saying to you, Biafran soldiers were made up of people from various parts of the country. My uncles, some of them fought in Ikotepene, some fought in Uzakoli, with bullet wounds and so on. So you went anywhere your unit sent you. So those in Gakem would have been from any part of Biafra land. That's really my take on it. Now, coming back to the Ojukwu asked the elders, the first question you ask yourself when you ask a question like that, did Gowon ask anybody before he invaded Biafra? Yeah? He didn't ask anybody. Yes. You're coming to kill you. Yes. So you're going to have a meeting with chiefs and elders. You said, I know, my brothers and sisters, my elders, look, they are killing us. What should we do?
What should I do? Should we die?
Yeah. So I think when you think about questions, you just look at the whole picture. It's not Ohaneze time. You're about to be wiped out on the planet. It's an existential fight.
You don't need a permission. Sorry, doctor. You don't need a permission to defend yourself. Yeah. Self-defense is alienable. It's alienable. Go ahead, please.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Self-defense is an inalienable right. So, and we're very, very fortunate to have had Ojukwu as the head of state. He's 33, 34 at the time. So he should talk to the elders. Yeah? He should go and ask them permission. Should we go and defend ourselves or stand here and get wiped out? That's the wrong question. And we need to ask the right questions. The right question is, did the elders come to him with advice of how best to fight? Yeah? But Ojukwu is in the military, in the modern warfare. This is not your village versus another village with knives and bows and arrows. This is a modern warfare. And the people we had were trained by the best. They were trained by British at Sandhurst. So they know what they're talking about. Do they need advice? Well, we'll talk about it another time because the Biafran, if you like, population are the such that you can't dictate to. So they were incorporated in the Ahera Declaration. The actual fight became a Biafran revolution in the sense that it becomes a people's war. Now, the problem with that is that you should allow people to do the job they're trained to do, not allow the civilians to come and tell the military, come and tell us what you're going to do to capture Willie. Yeah? Okay? What are you doing to capture Willie? Here, a civilian doesn't know how to fire a gun. Asking a military man, how are you going to capture Willie? What are you doing about it? And causing trouble. So it's very, very important in a war situation. You can have, it's not Ohaneze, what do you call it? Not that I have anything at the moment. Okay, no, I'm condemning them. There's a structure in place. This is a military warfare, modern warfare. You don't ask permission to defend yourself, as Mazi has said. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
Absolutely,
but just
absolutely.
Ask question.
All right, let's get to the next person. I think I have a caller on WhatsApp again. Caller on WhatsApp, can you hear me? Caller on WhatsApp, please. I've picked your call. Can you speak to us? All right, let's try the next caller on WhatsApp. Caller on WhatsApp, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening.
Mazi. Chineke, good evening from here. Please, your names and where you're calling from. Then you ask your question.
Okay, my name is Mazi Uchechukwu. My question is, why is it that there were a lot of sabotage during that period? Why was hello Mazi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. My question was, why was there a lot of sabotage during the war? Why was because some other part of Biafra that are not Igbo says that Biafra soldiers were in their village killing them, and some people that Ojukwu sent to buy weapons, they went away with the money. And today we are witnessing the same thing in Biafra struggle. So that is just my question. Thank you much.
Thank you very much. Mazi, the question is, why were there so many Ifajunas during the war? He wants to know why were there so many Ifajuna? That's the number one question. And then, of course, the second question, the people sent to go and buy a weapon, why did they run away with our money? Just like they are doing today again. I don't know if you get the question.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Let me answer the second one first.
Yes.
The second one, it says you give people money to go and buy weapons.
They ran
and
away.
They didn't return.
Yeah.
They bought houses and things with it. Okay? And it's true to a certain extent, but there are some who managed to buy the weapons. Okay? The issue here was involving and telling your elders, isn't it? Telling the civilians. If, according to the commander of the Biafran army, you allowed the military to send a delegation to go and buy the weapons, yeah, it is likely that they're not going to go and buy houses with it, okay? And they are going to buy the right equipment which is needed by those on the field. And they'll buy the right calibers, and they know if something is missing, yeah, when they're buying the equipment. So the commander felt sometimes the weapons that were given to them did not have the right fuse, did not have the right weapon, you know, if you like, how can I put it? Did not have the right mechanism for firing, okay? Because they were bought by civilians, and the mentality was, while you people are soldiers, you shouldn't be going out to buy weapons, we're going to buy it for you. You see, there's some logic in that, but you need the weapons. You have to understand what you're buying in the first place. So that allowed a loophole for people to buy rubbish, and those who managed to buy bought what they felt they can afford to buy, okay? And the second thing was that those who felt they can get away with it pocketed the money. And you should realize this happens in every human endeavor. There's a good, the bad, and the ugly in behavior, in character. And you're not going to abolish it because you have Biafra. Yeah? There are people who are set to, to disagree with you. You scold them for one reason or the other, they turn saboteurs. Yeah? The saboteur in the war, it's not something that's happened. There's a name called Quisling, yeah, who sided, I think in Norwegian or so, who sided the Nazis. So Quisling is his name. There's in Thermopylae, when the Greek were being attacked by the Persians, somebody led them through a path to overcome, the 200 Spartans. Yeah, so it went around and allowed the Persians to defeat the Greek. So if you think you're going to have a struggle where you don't get saboteurs, stop. You have to wake up. Stop kidding yourself. Even people in your own household, the scripture says, are the ones that will betray you. So get over it and do what is right. So, but if you're sending somebody to go and buy your weapon, make sure there's another person who covers and oversees them. That's what we didn't do right. Okay? There are lots of mistakes, and I'm glad we're discussing them now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mazi. Let's go back. I think caller on WhatsApp, you are back. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mazi. Please, your name.
Am I coming out clear?
Loud and clear. Your names, please. Where you calling from and your question.
I greet you, our elder. I greet my fellow Biafrans, genuine IPOB members, and all the members of the DOS. The question I have is this. Sir, will you be kind enough to tell us, explain to us, do you think that the Biafran of then would have been better than the Biafra of now because of the level of sabotage? By then, there was not much sabotage as we do have today. So what do you have to tell the youth with this form of agitation we are into now? Are you encouraging us as our father? Because you know that most of these people, the present, the so-called obedient youth, some of them, they are discouraged because of the division. So what are you telling us concerning the earlier Biafrans and the present one?
All right.
I greet you.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, I understand. I got your question, Mazi. I will relay your question. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Doctor, the question goes like this. Can you please compare the Biafrans of 1967/71 and the Biafrans of today? And what is it that we need to learn from those? Or do you think that the Biafra of those days are better than the Biafra of this day? And why are there so much sabotage and disobedience in the Biafrans of nowadays? I don't know if you got the question.
Okay, yes, a very interesting question, actually. Okay, let's go back to the Biafra, what I call the class of 66 to 70. The first thing to mention is that when we're talking about saboteurs, yeah, say there's this song, Ewo Muna one name J-Rock, Abiego, Ifa Junelani. Ewo Muna one name J-Rock, one name Okay, so that is the song the Biafran soldiers marched into battle with. That's how angry they were. Okay? So they named the people who betrayed them and they marched into battle. Now, they weren't happy that they had saboteurs in their midst. Okay? Because it was unthinkable that you can be killed in the north, in the west, and everywhere outside Nigeria. Come to your own country and people still want to go back into Nigeria. They want Biafran to lose. I can understand those who were in the periphery, the areas surrounding Nigeria when they were first captured. The enemy can turn them because you have your village has now been captured. Some of them became used as an opportunity to settle scores. They go on the Nigerian side and start pointing out their enemies to the enemy. You see what I'm saying? So it does happen. It's just human nature. I'm not saying it's acceptable, but saboteur in those days, there weren't many. They were rare. But all you need is one rotten apple, to spoil the whole thing, isn't it? Even if the saboteur is one person, it's bad news. But what I'm saying to us, maybe before I say that, the current situation, you now have over 50 years, okay, of what has happened to us as a people. You now have over 50 years. People have now, as somebody pointed out earlier, have been to settle in the north. They have hotels. They have houses in Abuja. They are
Mazi, can you still hear me? All right. I think, Mazi, you have put your call on hold. I am not hearing you anymore. All right. I think we're having a bit of a problem here. Our guest line is on hold. I am not sure why that is the case. Mazi Okachi, can you hear me? Unbelievable. All right. I'm not sure why that is the case.
The suffering, you didn't see the war. If you saw the war, it would not be happening, and so on and so forth. So that is the issue we have. I don't think personally there are more saboteurs now than there were before, okay? Because there's the good, the bad, the ugly. But if there's a condition conducive to Biafra restoration, then there'll be less sabotage, in my opinion. But we have to create that condition, unfortunately, okay? So do not despair. You know, there will be saboteurs, but we have to overcome them, like every situation. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mazi, your summary, if you can just summarize so that we can bring today's program to an end. I think we have done justice to the question of today. Please go ahead.
I got meetings to attend as well. Okay, well, well, Biafrans, thank you all for listening. There's a lot clearly that we can, there's a lot we have learned over the past few broadcasts, how the war started, where we were before the war started, and so on and so forth. But the issue now is they are still killing us. We want this killing to stop. Okay? We want our people to progress. So if you're still sitting on the fence, it's not going to happen. Join the Biafran restoration struggle. Join IPOB under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, so that we can all put hand, as Mazi Ono we are holding ourselves. We are the ones stopping us. The enemy calls you Biafra. So why do you call yourself Nigerian when there's no such thing as a Nigerian, as you have in the sense of the French person, a Welsh person, a German, a Japanese? You don't have such a thing as a Nigerian. You're a Biafran. You're a Arewa. You're Yoruba. You understand? So if the situation we find ourselves in is not conducive to our overall survival, why not create an environment where you can thrive and survive? So the restoration of Biafra is key. Everything else is secondary. Because when Biafra restored, then you'll be able to, progress as a people. And the restoration of dignity, your dignity will be restored throughout the whole world. And when you pass through an airport, you carry a passport which the world will respect. And then you've arrived as a human being and not someone being treated as an animal all the time. Okay? So those are my... I thank Mazi Onwaha and indeed the rest of the crew for listening. And maybe we have more sessions like this to get people to express their views and learn more about the history of what's happened to our people.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mazi. And of course, we will discuss, as time goes on and see on which angle we will be coming. And I think the interactive session makes a lot of sense so that people can get more involved and ask, questions here and there and get some clarifications. All right.
Indeed.
Thank you very much once again, Doctor.
Mama, opportunity. Sister, opportunity. Opportunity.
We, the global family of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, under the command and control of St. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they use this medium, they sound this trumpet loud and clear for everybody to hear them, both the deaf and the dead. Say, all these people, both big and small, in Biafra land, where they use the name of St. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB or ESN, they waka krukere, they commit one community or the other, just to rub body and other nonsense for our body in the name of thief, kidnapping, collecting of tax and rate, and different levies, even snatching of cars. All right, later to people saying that to support ESN, then be ESN. Our hand no day at all. Our hand no follow, and they no follow for what we they do. IPOB, ESN, and St. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu na brand name. We no they carry cool at all or do rough things. My people, we no know them, we no send them, and them no follow for what we they do. This ones na another brand of mask in another style, in another form, and another shape for this course. Every papa, mama, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, quick match. Advise your pikin or brother now for the leg where they waka krukere, I where they see sharply, they see person where they put hand for water where crocodile they make shakara. Waiting they find my brother na palaba, and they go catch him. 2 was not there for the 10. If the dragon where they fly, bitch come you. Now through get the dance, then go play for you, and you must dance that dance. And now before you don't dance that dance finish, your name go become obituary. But the workers of iniquity and the hired laborers, including their sponsors, in different shape and different countries and different towns and in different places, IPOB under St. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu go play Funa Surugede, and that music una must dance and it go play and it go show. 2 words no dey for the 10. As we talk na so it go be. Enough of our tower everywhere, whether na politicians or whatever send una, we no one know. Our dragon net go hold una. Remember, the fly wey no dey follow instruction or advice, they follow dead body enter grave. We the indigenous people of Biafra under St. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu no dey carry last at all, and we dey blow this trumpet because when it go begin happen, una go be thy kingdom come, while our name go be thy will be done. This message now from the Obungalicious, charismatic, indefatigable, great indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, the real owners of the land. They bring una this message. This now your opportunity to turn a new leaf.
Opportunity come Mama, opportunity. Sister, opportunity. Opportunity. Opportunity come
Ndio changonoto. Look at them.
Anyị onwe anyị bụ ọha ndị IPOB ma ụwa dum gburugburu bụ the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, n'okpuru onye ndu anyị bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ ji oge a n'afọ opi ike a ka ndị dị ndụ, ndị nwụrụ anwụ na ndị ntị ike nụ ya na anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị nwe ala Biafra gbaa gburugburu na-ekwu ya ugbu a na-ekwusi ike na anyị agaghị anabatakwa kpọmkwem ime onye n'ihu itepọtị ndị ekperimọlụ mmebi iwu na ọchịchị mere hevn oke ha na-ete anyị site n'iji ESN IPOB na aha dị asọ nke Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na-eji egwu ndị anyị chandum n'ụzọ dị iche iche ịnụ ụtụ dị iche iche ịtọrọ mmadụ ịzụ ụgbọala iji ntụmaka na-ere mmadụ aka point and kill n'ala Biafra mbanụnụ nke mere emekpuru ekete ọzọ emekwala IPOB ESN Maazị Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ bụ aha nwere agba eji aga mba a na-enye oche pụrụ iche abụghị ihe ndị na-amaghị nke ha riri ọkụkọ amaọcha ha na-adịghị mma ga-emebi na-etekwa une n'ihu ma na-erikwa ndị a na-eme ugu n'ụzọ dị iche iche ka m jụọ n'ụlọ onye gbachara apriko gbaa igbe ụzọ zụtara eji eli nna ya ọkwa onwe na-anaki ụgwọ mọchụarị ya ebe o werekwara aka ya gwuo alili ya Chineke menụ n'ụlọ ebere ya mere papa mama broda anti ọnkụ onye ọbụla ghe dụọ nwanyị ọdụ n'ihi na ọkụkọ ntị ike ga-agbakwa egwu ike ọ gakwa n'ihe n'ofe ebe ukwu na-aga njem ọjọọ agadịghị alọta anyị onwe anyị bụ IPOB anyị na-ajụ ugbu a jigbu na-eri n'ihi na ọ bụ ekpegbuo nwa nwaala apụrụ ya gafe ama nna ya IPOB anyị anaghị ekwukwa n'efu ọ bụghị anyị na-emechi emechi ndị ọzọ a na-emebi emebi na-emekasị ihe anyị gbakwana nkịtị nwanne ya bụrụ na nsogbu ga-adị n'ihi na anyị gba nkịtị arụ abụrụzi omenala kama jishi nkụ agwụnụ ebe anwụnta gada ịhụ anwụ mgbuo dọrọ aka na ntị onye kpatara nkụ ahụhụ ngwere gada ịbịara ya ọrụ ma ịnụghị dum nwanne ị ga na-ịnụ yọm anyị ga-amara ji n'ala n'ụlọ na nke n'ala n'ọtịrị n'ihi na mpekelechi na-emebi ike kama mpekelechi ga-emebikọ n'anya ike a na-egbupụ ike ịnụnụ onye na-asọghị chidị m n'ike taa marụ nwanne m ga na-eta ya n'isi agaghị m asụ ụbụrụ anyị ekwesịgokwa ọ bụ ndị IPOB otu ezi buru nnukwu ibu n'okpuru onye ndu bụ Maazị Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ wetara unu ozi ya
ma ndị mara amala na ọ bụ mmasị na mma na okwu ukwe kwesịkwa n'ịgba nlanụ gbamgbam n'ime ụwa nke anọ ọ bụ gịnị
Good evening, great Biafrans, wonderful people and beautiful people. Permit me to welcome you this evening. It is indeed a great day, a day that Chukwu Kikabiama have made. And of course, we have come this evening to do the noble. All right, this evening, of course, it is indeed a great evening because this evening we will be having the erudite barrister of IPOB. He is a senior counsel of IPOB. I must try as much as I can to get this straight, to get it correct. Very, very important. But I will be having Barrister Ejiofor. He will be joining me this evening. And of course, and he will be talking to Biafrans this evening. I need to introduce him very well. It is important that we do that. Of course, he is IPOB lead counsel and senior counsel to Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the person of Barrister Ejiofor. And of course, he is a busy man, as you know, and without wasting further time, I want to see if I can connect him directly because of his time. We don't need to waste time, but of course, I need to welcome Biafrans wherever you are this evening. And if you are hearing the sound of my voice this evening, my name's Mazi Ikechukwu Onoha, and of course, we are live, we are direct, and it is indeed so. Radio Biafra is where you are. All right, I think I have Barrister already with me, and because of our time issue, let me see if the Barrister can hear me. Good evening, Barrister. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you clear, very clear.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Ejiofor, and we welcome you to Radio Biafra. It is constructive argument with Mazi Ikechukwu Onoha, and Biafrans all around the world have joined in this evening to listen to our erudite barrister, the man who has been doing exploits, of course, in the field of his specialization. Barrister, we welcome you once again. Please, without wasting time, of course, I will give you a few minutes to talk to Biafrans, to greet Biafrans, and then, of course, we will get straight to the question. Over to you, Barrister.
Thank you so much. Good evening from here, Biafra. Good morning from here and good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mr. Kechuku, for having me at program.
Thank you very much.
The pleasure is not mine. We are, of course, I'm still working. We are fighting it on to ensure that our victory is actualized. And I can see green light as I speak to you. So something good is about to happen. You're welcome.